What is going on, everybody? It is episode 310 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I believe we have gotten past our tech issues from yesterday, so that's a relief.
Money guns go burr.
The money guns are going burr, indeed.
As I was about to do the intro, I always double glance at the episode number on my thing, and that was covered up by the money.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's episode 310, so we're good.
Yes, it is. And we've got a couple of guests in the studio today. First of all, we've got Phil Labonte.
Hello. How is everyone doing today? I am Phil Labonte, lead singer from All That Remains. Phil That Remains on Twitter. Yeah.
Ooh, you got an intro in at the beginning. I never do an intro at the beginning with all the socials.
Maybe if we were smarter, we would.
Yeah, I know,
that,
right?
You know,
I didn't start telling people to subscribe and hit the notification bell until 100 episodes.
Errors were made.
Yeah,
Errors were made.
Absolutely. So we also have to my left, Serge. Introduce yourself.
What's up, bronies? Yeah.
Is that it?
that's an accusation.
I'm just hanging out. I said that in the chat too, so yeah. Hope it'll be fun. I love the show. It's fun to be on this. So
Bronies right off the bat. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. I think they're making a Bronies movie too.
I thought they already did a
Nice.
documentary on bronies.
I've never seen it. I don't know if I'd want to be. I don't want that on my rental history.
I already watched it.
I
already watched
Was it amazing?
It didn't reveal much that I didn't know already about bronies.
The internet is all powerful. It can teach you anyways.
Sort of like subjecting yourself to watching the Chris Chan doc.
Never seen it.
It's like 67 parts long or something, and it's still going
Chris Chan,
because the
legend.
story hasn't ended.
no, it has
Sounds
not.
horrible.
It's pretty bad.
It is awful. I would never
That
watch
started
it
when
myself.
I was in when I was in high school. It's
Yeah.
a continuation still. It's so great.
It's still going now.
Yeah.
I guess there's a
Wow.
trend in the chat right now of sending $1 without a message.
Oh, really?
Well, thank you guys.
I
It
wanna
is
join on
working.
that.
I mean, it might end up breaking it, if it sends too many at a time. But I'm double checking.
No, I don't think so.
We're multitasking today. We multitasked heavy yesterday, so we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Elizabeth Banks still doesn't know when to keep her mouth shut, ladies and gentlemen. That's my personal opinion. She's made a few comments about how she believes that female action directors are discriminated against in Hollywood. We'll talk about that. We are also going to talk about Jeffree Star going scorched earth on anyone who dare claim that he is transphobic. You know, we live in a very litigious society, and I feel like that's going to become more and more commonplace with these celebrities that actually have the money to fight back against the spurious accusations of the media. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to kind of do a retrospect and figure out if FreeBritney actually did any good for society.
Or for Britney,
at
more
all.
importantly.
I think, but we can extrapolate to larger things, as far as medical freedom in general. What does it all mean? But her more than anything, you're right. I don't know if it's helping her out. So we'll discuss that. We're also going to talk about a very scared Oscars group. The Oscars are implementing their own type of crisis group to prevent any type of Slapgate to Electric Boogaloo from happening. So that's
prevent
good.
another pop culture crisis from happening.
Oh, boy. Good job.
Nice. Good plug.
That was good. So we're going to talk about that, but we got a bunch of stuff to get to in the beginning. First of all, we're going to save cringe for after the kind of introductory statements here, ladies and gentlemen, but I wanted to give an update first on this original story. I don't know if you guys were on this story, but there was a story a couple weeks ago about a man named Nathan Chasinghorse who was arrested and basically accused of being a cult leader. He used to live on an Indian reservation, and he was arrested on multiple charges, including assault, abuse of children, kidnapping, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
He had 1,000 wives, right?
Yeah, he was basically a polygamist with
and everyone knew it, but he wasn't exposed until recently.
But they've upped the charges. There's now 19 charges across 4 jurisdictions, and he has been indicted. He was in the movie Dances with Wolves back in the day when he was a child. So he is going to likely face worse consequences than Alec Baldwin because he has a public defender and not the gazillion-dollar lawyers that Alec Baldwin would have, right?
Yeah, I've seen some people say, look what happens to these former child stars. And I don't think that he
sometimes you're just a bad person.
Did anything he did because he's a former child star. I think he's just crazy.
Yeah.
and an abusive person.
Also, I mean, like having a couple of acting credits, like we're loosely using the term child star. Like, were you even in the industry long enough to be like
a star
destroyed by the
Somehow,
industry?
I think this is colonialism's fault.
Probably.
We can get there.
Blame Whitey. I'm fine with blaming Whitey.
We can do the mental gymnastics.
We can do that.
Why not?
Like I'm completely like redlining. We put them on reservations. It's our fault. It's our fault. We're fine with that. So it is. I mean, it is a very sad case. But the charges don't just like he used to be on an Indian reservation, and he was actually removed because of human trafficking allegations, and he was kicked off the reservation that he was on, and he moved to Nevada. And now the charges are not just in Nevada, but also at Fort Peck Reservation in Montana. So he is going to be going to jail for a long, long time. Don't drop the soap and all that, you know. So, well, you know, couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Yeah, you gotta wish him well.
So that. But I also want to, as the resident DC fan who gets made fun of, I do have some sad updates. You know, you're constantly a loser when you're a fan of DC. Unfortunately, Aquaman 2 test screenings are said to be a huge mess, and are also saying that that's why Jason Momoa will likely not come back as Aquaman, Arthur Curry in the third one, because it's just a mess, and that's why they'll probably transfer him over to play Lobo in James Gunn's future projects. You know, I'm used to taking the L with these DC projects going bad. So what can you do? Test screenings, they've got time to work on it, but not that much time. It comes out at the end of the year. So he's got, James Wan's got a lot of work to do in a very short period of time.
They're supposed to have this movie out at the end of the year?
Yes.
And they're doing, and test screenings are
not going well.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And to be fair, like editing plays a huge role in how a movie's taken, but usually that means that the material's just not there.
You got to have stuff to edit.
Yeah. So that is sad. And beyond that, I can continue playing the world's smallest violin. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is predicted to bomb at the box office.
Nice.
If you guys remember, Zachary Levi recently got in trouble with Twitter people for saying the crazy statement that Pfizer might not be like a wholly good company. Like he's like, you know, maybe the medical industrial complex isn't great. And
Well, what did he say? Pfizer is a
Blasphemy.
danger to humanity or something?
Basically, he didn't even say anything about the vaccine. He just said Pfizer in general was not like the greatest company in the world. You know, that's a crazy statement,
Disgusting.
right? But like now, you know, I'm a fan of Zachary Levi. I was a fan of him in American Underdog. I did finally see that. And I was also a fan of him in the show Chuck. I don't know if anybody here ever saw the show Chuck back in the day with Adam Baldwin. Adam Baldwin's super based, so he's
I follow Adam Baldwin.
Yeah, so it was a great show. He's a great actor. He's religious. He seems to stick by his convictions in the industry. And then you see something like this where, you know, the movie's not going to do well. It's projected to earn under what the first one earned at the box office, which is never a good sign. So I take the L on this one again. DC projects always end
It's
up.
not really your personal fault.
It
though.
is
I
with-
mean, we can
It's
blame
their
you
out.
here.
A couple of the people in the chat give me crap because I'm not a Marvel shill. I'm a DC shill, apparently. So it is what it is. But we don't just have that, Mary. We also have Cringe of the Day.
This one I found because Dane posted it on Twitter.
All right.
Yeah.
Let us-
Evil stuff.
Let's watch.
I'm going to share with you guys how I pipped my boyfriend in real life. For those of you not in tech, PIP stands for Performance Plan, and it's what you get put on when they're about. So my boyfriend and I were having a lot of issues. Like a lot. And ultimately I felt like we weren't compatible, even though we had a lot of love for each other. So as a last straw, we decided to do like a performance. And before you come at me, I know it's kind of harsh to some of you, but he's an engineer, and sometimes it's really hard to communicate with him without using something that he can already relate to.
Tell me your
Plus, he
boyfriend
kinda
has
liked it.
autism
So
without
we had a
telling me your
shared
boyfriend
note
has
with daily
autism.
and weekly tasks he needed to do and a set of things that he needed to work on. And it worked out really well. Like even now, for our household chores, things that he's responsible for, we use a Kanban board. That has been the only thing that has stuck and works. Like anything I need done, I just add it onto the Kanban board and he'll get it done. But if I just tell him, he'll forget about it. We also do weekly retrospectives where we check in with each other at the end of each week to see how we're doing. That's my favorite.
There was like people in the comment section like legitimately like, this is so adorable.
This is wholesome.
Yeah.
She knows her boyfriend so well. She knows how to control him so well.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of agency for the guy in that.
I mean,
in
maybe
that.
that's what he
Doesn't
wants
sound-
if
yeah.
he's like cucked. So I mean, that's your choice, I guess. If that's the lifestyle you want to live, you know.
Which it apparently is.
There are definitely dudes that are happier when they get a girl that just tells them what to do. There are
True.
dudes that
That's
are
true.
looking for that, and they'll put up with endless amounts of garbage if the woman will just tell them what to do, and if they do it, and if that kind of smooths things over, they'll do it. I'm not a big fan of that, personally.
She
but
seems to be rage baiting and using her relationship to get
The
internet
probation
clout.
part is definitely rage bait designed
At least
to like.
he wasn't in the video, you know.
I want to
Could be
know
worse.
if does he get to do a similar thing? Does she get like
does it sound
performance
like
reviews?
he gets to do anything
No.
other than what she tells him?
No.
He doesn't get to do a damn thing except
Yeah.
shut his mouth.
Are we reviewing her performance on anything? on
I'm
any
sure
metric?
she's perfect all the time.
Does she get reminders of the household chores she needs to do on a Kanban board?
Does she do any household chores? That's the question.
Is he a stay-at-home boyfriend?
No, he's an engineer, so he can't be a stay-at-home boyfriend. How can he be both an engineer and a stay-at-home boyfriend?
Maybe she works in the office and he works remotely.
Ugh, it's the world we like. There's people in the comments that were like, "Oh my God, she's found a way to communicate with him." Like, it says he's an engineer. He's not autistic.
That's so productive and emotionally mature.
It's not. It's creepy.
Well, maybe he is autistic.
Well,
but,
then she should have said that.
yeah. I mean, I don't
Like,
know.
He's an engineer isn't code for something other than like it shouldn't be
They were
code for something other than
commenting-
he's just an engineer.
They were commenting some really like condescending stuff. They were like, "This is how you like get an incel boyfriend." Like they were saying that
This is ableism
he's
now.
an incel and she
You can't
was
act like
she
this.
was stooping to his level to give him a chance.
Dating down, it's never good.
But I mean, that's
There-
the way. That's the way. Well, women date across and up, and men date across.
No, but
and
there's
down.
a subset of women that date down so that they have all the power in the relationship, and that's what this seems to be.
That is a terrible position to be in.
Yep.
Yeah. So this guy is likely, and I wonder if she like sent him this video thinking it's adorable. She's like, "Look at this video I made, honey," and he's like, "Thanks."
What if it's totally
I guess.
fake?
Could be. I mean,
Could be.
it's in the internet age now. I don't know if I take any of this stuff at face value. Like
It's tough to tell you.
half the time
No,
when I
but
watch podcast
what if she's a tiger
clips-
mom though? Maybe it's real.
I mean, I don't want to find out what she's like as a mom. Like that kid. I feel bad for.
Well,
that
I mean,
kid.
like she's like his surrogate mom rather than a girlfriend. You know, like
Ugh.
she just wants him to obey her rules.
if this was a movie, he would be like this for like most of the movie, and then he'd finally stand up for himself at the end and totally shock her. Like he would be all about him.
That would
finding,
never happen in a movie these days.
I didn't say these days. I just said if it was a movie, he would be basically crapped on the whole time, and then he'd finally stand up for himself at the end, and that would be his big moment.
That's
Redemption arc.
another thing about Ant-Man Quantumania. It had like a theme of cucking.
Whoa.
Basically,
Seriously?
like I forget.
I don't think
his
that
name.
it's that. Kind of
I
cucking.
just
I
looked
was
it
like,
It's more
up.
like the slang cucking than
It said
the
like
Pornhub cucking.
Yeah. Right.
Dr. Hank Pym.
Yeah.
He was literally cucked by
Well, literally.
All right, now
it's getting
are we
literal.
getting?
Is it literal?
Lord Krylar, played by Bill Murray. So Michelle Pfeiffer, like,
It's Bill Murray. you know.
essentially doesn't tell him that she had an affair with Lord Krylar.
You
And then
women,
he's,
man.
like,
you guys can just
totally-
get away with anything if you
He's
want.
like totally oblivious.
Is that having an affair
To
and
the
cheating,
fact.
or is that cucking? Is that like, are we just changing?
That's not really cucking. Cucking would be him being okay with it, knowing,
Right.
and being like, okay, that's fine.
Well, it's unclear whether whether he knows and is just looking past it, or if he's totally oblivious. But either way, it makes him look
maybe
like
if
a
you
total
cheat, maybe if you cheat in the quantum space, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Is that
count.
like that seemed to be the
We were on a
implication.
break in the quantum.
Yeah, yeah, literally that is what she was saying. She said like I have needs.
I kind
like
of
if you
feel
cheat on your spouse in the quantum zone,
that is
then
maybe
I kind of feel like
it
if you're
doesn't
in
count.
if you're in a different reality, you did not cheat on that person.
What happens-
Because
But it's still
it's
her.
literally not.
But it's still her.
What happens
Which
in a
one?
different reality
It's
stays
the
in a
same-
different reality.
It's the same her because she went Like,
Did she go into the reality with him? Oh, she was there in the reality. That's their shared
then
reality.
Then they both went to the quantum zone together and met this guy.
Yeah, okay.
And she didn't disclose.
All right, if you're both if you're in the same, if you
like
okay,
cheating to me.
it's like being in it's like if you go to a different zip code, but this is like with a different reality. If you're in one reality and you go to a different reality, but your spouse stays in the other reality, you are not cheating on your spouse. Like if your spouse goes with you into a different reality, because you have to have a shared reality to cheat.
Yeah, they share the reality. So she was cheating.
I would argue that if that is cheating, fine,
it would not be cuckolding. It would be cheating. Then
yes,
I think that's my final read on that.
Yeah, cuckolding requires
it requires consent.
Yeah,
express consent from my understanding of it.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna move on. We're gonna get started right away. So Elizabeth Banks, you know her as the awful director of the Charlie's Angels reboot from 2019, who blamed her failure on literally everyone in the entire world except for herself. She has got a new movie coming out that we are all very excited about. It is called Cocaine Bear. Who wouldn't be excited about a movie called Cocaine Bear? The problem is she doesn't know when to shut up when she's doing her press tours. It seems to be an ongoing problem with her. So it says, Elizabeth Banks says female action directors are discriminated against, but Ray Liotta gave her the confidence to make Cocaine Bear. First of all, anytime they say something that involves this actor did this that gave me the confidence to do that, it's PR bullshit. But
the confidence was the cocaine.
Yeah, I would hope so. Thoughts? Mary, first thoughts?
Well, I want to actually go over what she said.
Let's read the quote first.
She said, I'm a female director. I wanted to make a big movie that has a lot of action and CGI, and it's a very muscular, masculine kind of project. And I've been told by people in Hollywood, I don't know if you can direct those things because I don't know if male actors will follow you. And I say to that, when Henry Hill follows you, you can make anything you want. So that was the gift that Ray Liotta gave to me. He gave me the confidence to know that I can direct anybody doing anything. So she didn't outwardly say that there is discrimination.
She's saying that they don't think that people will follow her. My question is, what if they just meant they won't follow her?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Women?
Like, it's about you, Elizabeth Banks, and not about the fact that you're female.
The other thing that hit me when I said this was like, look, I'm a lover of television, and there's so much good action television directed by women. The first thing that came to my mind, I'm like, what if you're one of these like veteran female directors that never had to use your gender as like a stepping stool to get ahead in the industry, and you worked very hard to build your name and your reputation on your own? Patty Jenkins comes to mind for Wonder Woman, but also Denny Gordon and Tanya McKierney. There's a bunch of these actors. The ones that I listed, like I made a list off the top of my head right there, and only picked ones that do action movies or television, right? So not just people that are good directors, but people that are known to do action roles, because that's what she's talking about here. Denny Gordon did Burn Notice and Jack Ryan. Tanya McKierney did Game of Thrones, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which is a Terminator property, Blind Spot, and more. Like, all of these directors were women that weren't just doing, Euphoria or things that are dialogue heavy. They're things with a lot of action scenes in it. Deborah Chow is one of the most celebrated directors of any of the new garbage Star Wars. Like, she's one of the only ones that people seem to like the direction from. Michelle MacLaren did some of the most episodes of Game of Thrones. Imagine being some of these women, right, that have been doing this for years, and then somebody says something like this. I feel like it holds, like, first of all, it's a disservice to them, but now you're painting a target on their back because they're going to be painted with the same brush you are.
No, they probably agree with her.
I don't know if they do. Not if they've been working for 20 years. I don't know if they want to be lumped in that.
Do you realize that everyone in Hollywood marches in lockstep and agrees on literally everything?
But I also don't know if I agree
that... And their
that
extreme feminist biases span across all of them.
It's not quite that bad, but it is really, really heavily biased.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter.
They're completely detached from reality. Even if you can read out their own rap sheet of accomplishments to them,
they're also directors and
they
not
would deny
directors.
that they weren't held back for being women.
The fact that I looked through most of these women's, and I found no quotes about that in their IMDb's that said that. I'm just saying, like, we're both like,
logical you can induce basically that they all agree on everything, and if you haven't objected to the approved opinion,
I don't know if I agree with
outwardly,
that. I don't think that's fair to them.
Hold that opinion.
I don't know if it's fair to them. Like, what if you are like,
or you're too cowardly to speak out against it. So.
But it's not cowardly if you don't feel like that's your reality. If you've worked hard and you've gotten ahead.
No, I mean it's cowardly not to speak out against it when someone like Elizabeth Banks is the only one saying anything.
These other other directors, they're not going to be getting interviews. Like they're veteran directors who are directing some big budget television, but television in some movies. But they're not getting the press pass, the press pieces that are being done for somebody like Elizabeth Banks, who's directing a bigger budget, but is also an actor director, so she gets more spotlight because she's both.
Okay, that makes sense.
So she has more of a
their
platform.
As smaller directors is just what they make and not their interviews.
So I wonder if even that, like even maybe there's some resentment there that they aren't going to be asked all of these questions, and like maybe they have
Elizabeth
something
Banks
to the contrary.
is asked the questions because she is guaranteed to have the approved answers.
Yeah, and my problem with this is like she gets no leeway given past comments about how the reason people didn't go see Charlie's Angels is because men don't want to support female action movie or female superheroes, and then blaming the studio for marketing. If your track record isn't speaking to me, like if this was somebody's first time comments, maybe you can give it a pass.
Wasn't she in Zack and Miri Make a Porno?
Yes, and I forget what the other one was. She was in like Walk of Shame and Pitch Perfect. I don't know if you're a Pitch Perfect.
Oh
too.
yeah, that's where I recognize her from.
Like
yeah.
she's.
Did you know that she made this movie called Jane?
I didn't see it.
It's like about these women who obtained abortions for women before abortion was legal.
Seems right up her alley.
Said that like basically the Harriet Tubmans of the abortion industry before abortion was widely legal in this country.
What year was it?
It was like, the abortion Underground Railroad equivalent, like that, because they think that they're heroes. And like they think that being pregnant is a form of slavery,
So brave.
obviously.
So brave.
And then it came out, of course, at such a convenient time when Roe versus Wade got overturned, and they had the perfect opportunity to whinge about it. And they said, I feel like this film coming out now is like a greater responsibility on it. However, we made the movie knowing that there are already abortion healthcare deserts all across America in places like Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. Millions of women have to already travel so far for abortion healthcare that it really felt like the post-overturning Roe world already existed for millions of women in the country.
Millions
And
of
this is
women
in
have to travel.
an interview about this movie called Jane. I haven't seen it. I would rather never see it.
There's so much stuff that I would want to.
But this
ask
woman is given a
follow-up.
platform.
I
This
would want-
woman is the big female action director. She's the one getting the interviews in the press because they know that she will give the correct answers.
The problem here is like if ever there was a time
Problem here
to
is Elizabeth Banks.
is if ever there was a time to restrain yourself, it's when you're releasing a fun B movie that literally is so far from the world of identity politics. You should be keeping it like at least we may disagree with what she says, but it makes sense to have that interview when you're talking about a movie about the Underground Murder Railroad. Fine, sure, whatever.
Well, it's telling that now we're seeing the headlines that say Elizabeth Banks' new movie Cocaine Bear is gonna ruin her career.
Like,
when in reality, making a stupid, preachy movie like Call Jane should have ruined her career. But instead, she's failing upwards in this fashion that she gets not only a second chance, but a third and a fourth and a fifth and infinity chances to prove herself.
History plant.
Exactly, yeah.
Meritocracy is just dead, and in a lot.
I mean,
of the arts
meritocracy in an industry like Hollywood is,
Right, it's
is
always been
almost
dead.
non-existent anyways.
Right.
Outside of provable numbers like box office figures,
Right,
like
exactly.
that's the problem with award shows, right? It's like it's all subjective anyways.
it's
Award
all
show,
from,
like never go
yeah.
by award shows. Go by record or go by movie sales, ticket
Right,
sales,
exactly.
Christopher
downloads,
Nolan.
views, that kind of stuff is what.
Right.
Because everything else is the industry patting itself on the back.
Yeah,
Like the Grammys,
always.
the Grammys are always
Yeah.
the industry deciding,
example of that.
Well-
giving kudos to people in the industry that the industry approves of.
Why are people who win the awards or get nominated for the awards seen as the only real artists? Like there are actors and actresses that are just seen as, the real performers and the real like the people who take acting as an art rather than a job. And then there are directors who are seen as auteurs and not just directors who make products.
Well, there's also plenty of auteur
Carey
directors that
Mulligan
never
is one
get-
of those actresses where she's in what was that movie Brad Pitt produced about Harvey Weinstein?
She said.
She was in that playing some New York Times journalist that exposed like all of the Weinstein.
Yeah, but nobody went and saw those
Scandal.
movies. Like, nobody went and saw those movies.
No one saw that, exactly. But she still has a career where she does this over and over. Firstly, like, I was just thinking of A Promising Young Woman, where Carey Mulligan, again, like, she plays this woman who was in medical school, and she dropped out because her friend got gang R-worded while she was drunk. And then she goes on a murderous rampage.
That's called democratic sex.
She goes to bars in this small American town, pretends to be blackout drunk, gets into bed with men who are planning to R-word her, and then like kills them. And there was this huge controversy before it came out, by the way, where people were saying that Carey Mulligan isn't hot enough to play that role. The same way, okay, maybe she isn't hot enough to play that role, but she was beautiful enough to, I think, play Daisy Buchanan in Great Gatsby. But it's funny that debate happened twice with her. It would cause me a huge blow to my ego if people were debating whether I was attractive enough to play all of the characters I play. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, there are movies like this and directors like this and actors and actresses like this that operate outside of mainstream appeal, and they get to fail upwards regardless of whether what they make resonates with people, because they espouse the views that Hollywood approves of.
They're also making the movies that aren't expected to move the needle anyways. They don't give them the movies that they expect to make a ton of money. They give those to James Cameron, Christopher Nolan, and a handful of other directors.
Well, they think it's going to shift the Overton window to put out a movie like She Said or Women Talking.
Then you don't look at that as like then their monetary system for success isn't based on money. We're judging them by the wrong monetary system. Theirs is on social capital. So the social capital that they build the studio is basically a byline that can't be quantified, but they have an unlimited budget for. The other thing that's funny about this, if we go back to the actual directing situation here, is like, what do you think is like worse? Do you think it's like, so the idea, like we talked about Olivia Wilde and directing those movies, like what's worse, the male ego of like a male actor that doesn't want to take direction from a female director, or is that outweighed by a male actor's narcissistic need to prove himself to be an ally, which are both strong things in Hollywood?
Wait, what was the question?
So like,
exactly?
so what wins out in the end? The male ego to not be led by a female director because he feels like she can't do her job. That seems to be what she's saying.
That
here.
male actor does not exist.
That's what I'm saying. But
That's
she's saying
thing.
they won't follow.
It's a made up fantasy straw man.
So she's lying.
That she doesn't have.
So she's lying.
Well, maybe she's not lying that someone said that to her, but they probably said it in a way that's like, you know how we feminists are aware that female directors are discriminated against. Well, they didn't say it as in like, you're a woman, therefore no one should listen to your direction.
Then the studio's lying to them, to her, because they're trying to like stave her off the project, and they're like, I don't know if you want to do this one, make this one over here. Don't make this one, make this one, because you're right.
This one replied to it, said her mouth is her greatest enemy. I'm not sure why she always comments on men disliking her. Let your movie speak for itself. People will turn up regardless if a man or a woman directed it. Guarantee if it bombs, she'll use the same excuse as Charlie's Angels.
There is nothing in that movie trailer that says directed by a female, and that's perfect. It shouldn't need something like that. It should live on its own. It should live and die on its own merit, right? Yeah. And now people are going to read stuff like this, and they're going to be turned off by those headlines, which just proves that the journalists aren't any better friend to the actors than they are to us, right? They're not helping her out any by writing this article. They don't help her out at all. This doesn't give her good publicity. It turns people off. So it's like, who are they? Like, when they go to these press tours, it must be like having a gun to your head the whole time, every time they ask you a question, because you know how it's going to be clipped.
Some of them some of these directors and celebrities, they seem eager to preach in interviews. Like they're taking every opportunity they're
For the
given.
most part, these people probably have at least an idea of what the questions are going to be, and they know what the answers are going to be to the questions. Most press tours are really just FaceTime with the press.
It's
and
on rails.
Yeah, it's
all on
completely formatted and stuff. So because if you don't, then you end up saying something that is, outside of acceptable. Even if it's not outside of acceptable now, you might say something that in 6 months or a year is outside of acceptable. They put a lot of effort into making sure that your PR companies put a lot of effort into making sure that you're doing what is best for your brand. So if you're out there trying to make noise, trying to make issues, they can direct you in that way. But if you're trying to keep things specifically within a narrow format, they really keep you on the straight and narrow.
She should be talking about nothing but things that are fun or interesting on something like this. There should be no mention of gender politics.
There
It's
is
funny that
no
she-
more fun.
Yeah, it's funny that she even said or suggested the idea that people think women can't direct men, because in the professional sense, that's not true. Hollywood men are wimpy male feminists.
They're
so
happy to take
they'll be happy
direction.
to take direction. But secondly, like just in general, women have been telling men what to do for all of human history. And
There have been queens for almost as long as there have been kings. And
Yeah.
queens start wars just like kings start wars.
there's
so.
been no dispute to female power until female empowerment astroturfing took the stage. Like that's when things really went haywire. Is the more similar to men women become, the more disposable they are, and that's when you start feeling like you're getting kicked to the curb and not listened to.
I just feel bad for all of these female directors that have been working for 20 or 30 years that never, whether they did or not, I'm not seeing articles written about them talking about how they were held back. And if that were me, and I worked very hard to get where I am in an industry that is predominantly male, especially on the director's side, right? Your men are going to outnumber the females. Now that's what's funny too, is like you go through any of these shows and you can go on IMDb and you can look up a show and it'll list how many directors have worked on the show, meaning like this one, and then it goes from like most episodes directed to the least, right? And there's always a couple of females on each one, and certain people would attribute that to sexism, but we know that that's just professional choice, right? Less women go into directing than men. Hollywood would at no point love to say we have female directors working on these things now. But these women existed at a time when that wasn't the narrative.
I wonder how many people.
yeah.
I wonder how many people go into acting and decide they actually want to move on to directing.
A lot of them.
And how many decide they just want to stay in acting.
The number one director for one of these shows that I was looking at earlier, I think it was for Breaking Bad and for Game of Thrones, he was actually a child actor who he worked on the show Everwood. He was Ephraim on Everwood. And he still acted all the way up until 2017. But for them...
It's when you get tired of being told what to do.
It's a natural transition. Or he gets an opportunity. A lot of actors, if a show goes for long enough, most of the lead cast end up directing an episode anyways. So if you look through any of your favorite shows, if you go down the list and look for the least amount of episodes directed, you'll usually see an actor on the show has directed some of those episodes because they get the opportunity as the show goes on longer. It's a well-oiled machine. They get to try their hand at acting, and some of them, they get bitten by the bug. They love to do it, and that's fine. But it's just, I feel bad for the ones that didn't feel like they needed the heads up, and whether they agree with them or not, if it were me, it would be a point of personal pride that I succeeded in an industry dominated by if I was a male beauty influencer, I would be.
You don't
I would
realize that
Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah.
you don't realize that it actually is insincere when they're calling for equity. These women, all of these feminists, because Elizabeth Banks, knowing that most directors and the biggest directors are men, likes to be the pick-me, she's not like other girls, and she's able to get along with the boys, and she can do anything that the men can do. So if it were an equitable 50-50 share, if there were a quota of female directors, she wouldn't be special anymore.
Nope.
So she doesn't actually want that to happen.
Right.
Also, the real question here is: do the Wachowskis count as women,
No.
or do the Wachowskis count as men?
I mean, I would. That's the thing about this whole argument is I would be polite in person,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm not delusional.
Yeah.
You know, you guys were brothers at some point in history, so I mean,
I would say they still are.
Yeah,
but
I
don't.
I would
know
too, but I'm in person. I'm saying
what we
I'm gonna
can
be like
say
whatever
on
you want to call
YouTube.
yourself. Like, okay, I'll be polite.
I was
but
talking to
being polite is not being deluded.
I was
think
talking to
that's just
Wesley earlier,
reality.
and he was saying that there's they consider there to be a difference between woman and female, and I said nobody in the world deserves that much nuance.
Gender is different from biological sex.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
fine. You can make that argument.
Yes,
You
I wouldn't, but you know, I understand. You can use it to discuss the what you would consider gender
Well,
roles.
the reason
but
I
just
think
don't
of-
think gender exists.
The thing that makes
no
me
one's proven it to me yet. So
the reason I think that is because like my dog is a female and there is nothing feminine that that my dog does.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing womanly that my dog does. It's still a female dog.
Yeah.
But there's nothing feminine about it. So like I get why you can make the distinction. Is it useful? Probably not, beyond discussing trans people. But there's got to be a distinction for trans people too. You can't just say a trans woman is not a woman. A trans woman is a trans woman. You can be polite and call the trans woman she for social lubrication and make your days easier. But you can't expect people to be like, yes, I think that is a woman.
Yeah.
If they don't conceptualize a trans woman as a woman, you can't make them.
Are we having stream issues? Right now?
They're saying that it skipped. It seems to be good now. It says that we have a connection, so we should be fine.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to Super Chats, Mary.
Brett sent us a test chat. That's
I did.
Top, and Jessica did as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. Andrew Jacobs said, hello again to my two fave hosts, and your boss is okay too. Sorry I haven't been around as much, but I'm not able to listen to PCC at my new job yet.
Well, you'll have to find a way. Got to get the headphones and the. See,
Yeah,
that used to be a
gotta-
harder thing to do. Working regular jobs, it used to be very hard. It was an art form to me as somebody who refused to work without like at least one headphone in back in the day. And when there was wires attached to it, you'd have to hide it very, very sneakily. Nowadays, you just have long hair and have your little earbud in, and nobody sees anything, right?
But wouldn't it stress you out to if you have to talk to people? In
I
your
wear it in the
job?
bad ear and just listen to it really loud. So it's just like background music. If it's playing in the ear, I can't hear out of, and then it's just very loud. It's like you hear it around your head, and it's just. But yeah, no, you wouldn't put it in the. I can't wear headphones at all in my good ear because it's too distracting. Because then it feels like I don't know what's going on around me.
Okay.
So.
Potatoes sent us another $1 without a message.
Thank you.
nice.
Lindsay said, "Happy Thursday."
No
Finally,
gaslighting.
we've got the weekday right.
Yes.
Thank you. Another one from Potatoes for Seamus. Another one from Jessica.
Thank you.
And one from Marcos. Sorry about missing your chat yesterday, by the way. Left Field sent one. Potatoes sent a third one. There's a lot of test chats, I guess.
Why is everyone giving YouTube so much money?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, why do you love YouTube
why are they
so
doing
much?
that?
Surge.com. Is this a real Surge?
Yeah, I think so. If it's .com, if it's surge.com, that's probably the real
there's
thing. You know.
he sent an emoji.
Busta Cap says, "I just damaged what little
Looks like
hearing I
Surge.
have left in my failing ear." Brett, it's like 90% deaf, so there's nothing there to save. Like if I fall asleep on my good ear, I'm not waking up. No alarm is waking me up, and that's a beautiful thing sometimes. Like sometimes you want to just sleep in, right?
I have Horace said we got high energy Surge and low energy Phil today.
Low energy.
Are you low
Phil.
energy?
I didn't notice. I guess if
don't
I'm not,
either.
I think if I'm not yelling, people assume that's low energy.
Yeah, that's a
You're
problem.
not yelling like Billy Mays.
Yeah, I got to be screaming or running around. There's got to be lights and fire and smoke and
It's the
stuff.
problem when you set a high baseline.
You got your friend there, Serge.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
I was taping that guy earlier.
Yeah.
Hobbit said, was going to say welcome Surge, and he called me a brony. I revoke my unsent message and say welcome Phil instead.
Thank
Happy
you.
Friday, Brett.
And the gaslighting returns.
Potatoes for Seamus said, happy Monday, Surge and Brett.
They love to gaslight. It's their favorite thing. Let's read one more and then we'll move on.
We just got $1 from Yash.
The one after that from Max.
And Max Johnson said, Phil went from being the lead singer of my favorite band to being one of my favorite political and cultural commentators.
Aw.
Thank you for all you do, guys.
Yeah, nice
Perfect.
pivot.
Appreciate you.
It's a nice pivot.
All right, we're going to hold off on the rest and we will come back. So Jeffree Star is back in the news. We talked about Jeffree Star earlier this week. He got called, he was on a...
He was on Bussin' with the Bros on Barstool Sports.
See, I'm poorly cast here talking about stuff that's even semi-serious. I really do belong on Barstool where I can just say bruh a lot and things like that.
Bruh.
So he's threatening to sue a bunch of media outlets that have essentially been calling him transphobic for daring to question the idea that they them pronouns might in fact be stupid.
I mean, he didn't question it. He outright went on a rant
stupid,
saying
yes.
that they them is BS.
It's
and
poor
that,
English.
Well, he didn't say that.
He said it's
important to point out.
Said that it's because of
He said it's stupid and that it was invented during the pandemic because people got bored in their houses and they were coming up with new labels to put on themselves. Poor Jeffree doesn't know that it was invented long before COVID even happened.
There's an actress who was on Arrow in 2012 that was the first, I'll never forget that, the first time, like, as me, serial IMDb-er looks up every single person on a show, and I'm reading this person's IMDb, and I'm like, why are these written so weird? Like, I didn't understand at the time, because it was like 2013, and like, even then, they were being respectful of the actress. I don't know if she goes by actress, if they go by an actress, but they were being respectful of the pronouns then.
It's an actress.
An actress with an X. And like I couldn't figure it out. So it's not like this is new.
It's not. It's just the determination to force everyone to play by their rules is the new
They
thing.
didn't know it was going to be an avalanche.
Yeah.
When they started, abiding by they them pronouns in 2013.
They probably didn't know how easy it would be to weaponize people's goodwill. Like people's desire to be polite.
They didn't know that there was going to be a Maoist cultural revolution. In
It's
the
not
United
even
States.
really a desire to be polite. It's a desire to avoid confrontation.
Right?
I think, I don't know about that. Like, I think most, like, maybe I'm giving most people the benefit of the doubt. Like, most people, if you ask them, who are not politically inclined, who don't understand the insanity that's going on in the world right now, would rather be respectful.
Yeah, I think most people are kind of like, I don't want to make a stink.
Yeah.
I just want to get along with everybody. I don't want to, there's no reason for me to
Live and
intentionally
let live
upset
is a big
people.
part.
I think that's the motivation that the Q in LGBTQ people are taking advantage of.
Right.
But it's become so aggressive.
That's the thing is, like, I think it's become to the point where it's like you don't want to be not polite or impolite to somebody.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to, and I've experienced this in Hollywood, you don't want to say something that is going to have people jump down your throat and start screaming at you in public, or
When the reaction
denouncing you, and essentially, like you said, like Mao was trying to, like the Cultural Revolution, shouting you down and literally having a struggle session against you. And, they don't have a little red book, but what's the difference? You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Gina Carano go on a Zoom call with 40 members of the LGBTQ community so that they can yell at her and tell her how awful she
That is a
is.
struggle
We're in
session.
such a
it is
like
quite literally.
toxically feminine, like toxically ladylike
Social
era
media
right now.
Social media has done that. Social media is a breeding ground for women and feminine men to bully people on the internet.
By the way,
it's a-
like,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
go.
Go.
No, you go.
Well, it's like you're saying, it brings forth feminine types of aggression.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Masculine types of aggression are physical. Feminine types of
Passive.
aggression are
very
the
passive.
kind where you would
If there's
talk
a war
about.
between women, it's like whoever admits the war exists first loses.
Oh no.
Thank you.
Oh.
Like Maddie Healy of the 1975 becoming problematic has prompted me to start listening to the 1975 more. And I heard one of his lyrics. It was like, I can't get the language right. Just tell me what's unladylike. And it's literally, that is the male feminist paradigm. Like, I don't know Zeezer.
I won't do it.
Or Zimzer
I won't do
pronouns, but like I'll just do whatever you tell me is ladylike, and I'll cross my legs uncomfortably on the train. I won't man spread.
So-
I'll just be a good little ladylike, obedient.
So Jeffree Star is now threatening to sue and
Yes.
had basically went scorched earth in this video.
Well, let's
saying,
look
like,
at the video.
Yes, exactly. Here we go.
Not always agreeing with everyone. You know what's crazy is that over the last few days, I have learned that being yourself, having an opinion, not always agreeing with everyone. Those 3 things are scary to the average bear.
He's so good
They
at
can't
promotion.
be put
He
in a
is.
box,
He's
pre-labeled, and everything's already wrapped up with explanations. Miss Thing, it's
Miss
scary
Thing?
to them. You know what I'm not gonna do? Back down from my opinion, from science, from facts.
science.
And just
Science.
overall, I didn't even say anything crazy.
I don't even
but
disagree, but it's
the
funny to
media
hear
is
it in
crazy. So
RuPaul's
what
Drag
I am
Race
gonna do,
language.
I'm gonna take something out of Cardi B's book. You wanna hear it? I'm in such a different place mentally. I'm at peace. I'm so happy. And I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of TV appearances, podcasts, and there's a lot of big things in the works. And my brand just keeps growing and growing. It's just so fucking phenomenal. So yes, bitch, I'm back. And what we're not going to do is lie on my name. So anyone
not gonna do.
creating a lie, meaning the media outlet, I'm gonna Cardi B you. I'm gonna file a lawsuit because you are fucking lying on my name. I just went on and I saw a few outlets saying that I'm
This-
transphobic. Jeffree Star, who has 5 transgender employees. I have over 100 employees of all different ethnicities. A brand that is inclusive to the entire world. What we're not gonna do is lie. So if you posted an article saying anything like that, you better delete it, Miss Thing, because I'm fucking coming.
Yes, Miss
All I
Thing.
said was I don't agree with pronouns. That's it.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know what's
you-
crazy is
You don't want that smoke.
Fantastic. Oh, I'm saying like
You don't want
the
this
the
smoke.
people that will come out of this okay
Yeah.
are the people that have the capital to file these lawsuits.
It's like J.K. Rowling.
So you saying you don't want Jeffree Star smoke,
Yeah,
or
you don't
Jeffree
want-
Star doesn't want to start?
You
No,
do not want
You don't
smoke with Jeffree
You
Star.
don't want Jeffree Star smoke. I mean,
No, no.
I've known Jeffree Star since MySpace back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want that smoke.
I don't know him personally, but I've got
Stay
friends
away.
that know.
Yeah.
He used to hang out with a lot of dudes in
Right.
metal bands and hardcore bands
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like that.
totally.
So like,
Which
I've
is
got
not
lot
a
of friends.
PC crowd, or at least it
Hell
wasn't
no.
always.
No.
It turned into that
Believe
relatively
me.
recently.
Believe me, there are videos out there of me saying things that if they get brought up, I'm gonna have to go ahead and tell a lot of people to F off.
I was listening to old,
and not sorry.
No, I am not sorry about anything that I said
Yeah.
in the aughts.
Don't
no,
apologize.
ain't sorry.
old Hollywood Undead
Never did the
lyrics.
apology tour.
No.
I am not sorry.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm looking right in the camera.
Jeffree Star did do an apology tour essentially because people found all of these old videos of him from like the MySpace.
Oh
days,
yeah, he's hard R.
where he was throwing out the hard R and like
it's hard. To
he
come
was
back to that.
he basically
Yeah,
said
it's
an
a little
explanation that
That's different.
I believe, and it was shockingly honest. He was just like, I was tired of being degraded for being, an effeminate, feminine-looking man and a gay man, which was, I totally believe it, like a thing in the mid-2000s. So I retaliated with as much hatred as I possibly could at anyone who gave me pushback. So yes, I said these slurs because I thought it was the only way I could give an equal reaction to the people that were being mean to me. I totally believed that. So I like at least that he didn't, feign ignorance as to what he was saying or doing. But he did go on an apology tour in the late 2010s. And now when he says don't bring up my past, that's what he was referring to. But maybe now he's realizing he shouldn't have apologized or acknowledged at all what happened, because every time that he says something new that pisses people off, his past will be brought up again, regardless of whether he is sorry or
That's
not.
the reason to not. That's the sole reason to not apologize. The idea that you're when you're apologizing, you're doing a couple things. First of all, a lot of times the attacks are not actually. They're not being honest, or they're not telling the whole story.
It's not in good faith.
It's not in good faith. So they're trying to cast you cast aspersions. By apologizing, you're acknowledging that yes, they're right and that you did something wrong.
Admitting fault.
So you're admitting fault in the first place, and you're giving them all the power. And second of all, if you apologize, it is going to be brought up in the future every time someone feels like they want to. Every time someone wants to put you in a corner, knock you down, et cetera, they're going to say, well, you did this and you blah, blah, blah. If you said, yeah, I did, suck it, then what are they going to do? It's like, well, you're a bad person. It's like, well, I don't give a shit. Pardon my French.
Yeah, and I don't think that Jeffree Star is based for this just because we agree on one minuscule thing in gender ideology, one very small facet of the insane tidal wave that has been like gender ideology, like slippery slope. But I do think he is like a psychotically competent businessman and very calculated, and basically like the end result, if you take alpha male to its logical conclusion, like he is actually so competent and intelligent and ambitious that he's not even concerned with like gender anymore. Like he's like almost an alien that's ascended beyond the rest of humanity to make as much money as possible, which I won't even make a value judgment on. I just think that he's not your next conservative pundit, and he doesn't want to be that either.
No, but that's the thing about this whole I hate to say culture war, but this whole thing that's going on is like, it just takes a little thing like that for you to kind of be like, whoa, what? Wait, what are you saying?
You're
like,
exactly
you're
right.
saying they, them. What are you talking about?
You're exactly right, and it takes people like Jeffree Star
to realize that,
to say that, for normies to kind the thing that
Is
Bill,
it?
does.
That what they
think so.
Because
Yeah,
I
I think
thought
so.
that normies
100%.
want, like I was watching this Matt Walsh video earlier where he was literally talking about this. Like, do we need, as Jeffree Star said, do we need somebody like him to say this? And
Yes.
he thought, well, no, because Jeffree Star is not a normal person who is relatable to normal people. And we need normal people
That's not
to
true.
speak out.
The point
I
is
think
normalcy.
that's a real blind spot on the right's
Yes.
point of view, where they don't realize how much clout
the
Jeffree
right
Star
needs,
still
the
has.
right needs to get the regular liberal in America to realize that they're not a communist, they're not a socialist, and that all the woke policies, it's all Maoism, it's all communism, it's all of it.
It's all Marxist theory, all critical thought,
All of
stuff.
it.
It all boils
So
down
what you
to
need to do is what needs to happen is the average dude that works in Hollywood. I was in Hollywood, I was in LA like 2 weeks ago recording. I got working with a bunch of people that consider themselves left liberals in Hollywood. And I was talking with them, and when it comes to gender ideology and stuff like that, that's where they're drawing the line. And so what you need to do is convince them that the people that are the most aggressive with gender ideology are all communists, because they are. It is an ideology that ties in with a far left perspective, and you have to get your normal liberal Americans, normal people that are just like default Democrats that are like, look, I just want to vote for people to be able to live their lives however they want, and I think people should have health care. Those people need to understand that they are liberals, and that the people that are pushing gender ideology are progressives, and there is a distinct difference, and the liberals need to come back to liberal principles.
Totally agree.
Is Jeffree Star even relatable to liberals? Does
Yes.
someone
Yes,
like
absolutely.
this,
What
who
now-
is, I mean, Jeffree Star in every sense of the word except for political, like actual policy opinions, is a fascist. Like his personality is tyrannical and fascistic and like just like authoritarian to the max. How else would he single-handedly run a company like his?
Right, but-
and a brand so like far-reaching, and it has like its claws stuck everywhere. Like,
Because
how
he's
has he
making
been on the
culture.
internet for as long as he has
so
and had so many iterations?
That's something that I think gets commonly conflated. It's a conflation that occurs oftentimes for me. I see people say it's tyrannical, it's authoritarian, and they say it's fascistic. Fascism is another form of socialism. It's essentially the merger of industry and the state. So the difference is, like, he may be tyrannical, he may be authoritarian, he'd be top down, tough dude, etc. But he doesn't have the powers of the state. He
Well,
doesn't
I mean,
have
I'm
the legal
not
system
really
behind him.
interested in like political science beyond
Of course.
psychoanalyzing the people
Of course,
who
but I'm
subscribe
just
to
saying.
certain things, and that's what I was doing.
Well,
But
I'm just saying, like, that's what oftentimes happens when the Nazis were socialists, the national socialists. It's like, it's a thing that gets put together and conflated a lot. And I think, like, I don't think he'd consider himself like a fascist or anything like that. I think he'd consider himself a hardcore CEO and etc. But I think that's
I know he wouldn't consider himself that.
yeah, but that's what I think
Yeah.
is it's important, because like that's what Phil is saying, is like people that are consider themselves liberals that maybe even grew up in the era of like down with Russia, etc. I mean, it's so weird we're saying that now again. It's
so
just weird. But I think that's the group that needs to be woken up so they don't just, keep voting blue no matter who. It's not the same thing anymore.
It's not, but it's not even about. It's not even just about voting. It's about because we're on pop culture crisis here.
Yeah,
it's about
culture. It's culture.
It's about culture. That's why someone like Jeffree Star needs to stand up to the people that are being trying to.
I disagree.
You really think so?
I don't think that this is a W for like sanity about gender and gender roles. This actually is almost making the issue more divisive and it's
definitely
essentially it's affirming the idea that one can transition from one gender to the other, meaning like that you're affirming the binary and one's ability to switch back and forth on the binary effortlessly with no
I can see that,
biological consequences, with no social consequences. Like that is simply not something anyone has the capacity to do. The binary exists. And
I don't have a problem with people dressing up like the opposing gender, and I will call them she and he. And that's kind of where that's my.
I get that that's where you're at, but where I'm at is like, if you affirm one part of it, the entire thing is going to suffocate you. Like that is the goal, is to essentially just take like you're like the Western civilization is like the Joker's mom in her hospital bed, and then the Joker just fucking smothers her with a pillow that is like the insanity about like gender ideology and Marxism and like if you like give them even 1 inch, they will take the circumference of the earth. Like you can't cede
ground. I totally understand that. But that's
and I don't think anyone needs Jeffree Star to say this. Like
no, totally
I don't
think
Jeffree Star for anything but beauty products.
Right. I don't think of it as like as a win in any way. I just think of it as like this is something that I'm saying needs to happen regardless. If you want to, and that's the difficult thing about liberalism, the idea of saying, well, you can do what you want as long as you don't infringe upon my ability to do what I want to, is to say like, and you don't have to be liberal. I'm just saying that's like what this country was essentially founded on, the ability to say, do what you want to do, and I'll do what I want to do. Just don't bother me, and I won't bother you.
But I mean, we're gonna get way off track if we start talking about like the founding principles of the nation when it was like about Jeffree Star.
Oh yeah,
I disagree with that. I think that the libertarian approach that is like live and let live is actually one that lacks compassion. Because you're essentially leaving the most vulnerable people of society out to the wolves if you say live and let live. They don't know how to live and they need help. And
we're going to get more into that in the next topic.
We are actually. Yeah.
Let's go Superchats.
Anything? All right. RS Degurchas said, gonna send in my $1 donations all at once. Cool.
Thank you.
Johnny Beck sent us a thumbs up. Thank you. Ryan said, as an engineer, kind of sounds like a personal attack. Yeah, I don't think that most engineers would be cool with that. Rega Tan said, yours is one of the most creative outros. I love it.
Thank you.
That was Brett's idea. Yeah. Working out so far. Dash Fortune said, a Mark Wahlberg commercial promoting Lent. I never knew a YouTube ad to be so based. Pretty groovy. Happy Thursday, everyone. Yeah, we were watching his segment from, what was that, the Today Show?
He was talking about Lent, wasn't he?
Talking about, how he does Lent, and he had like the ashes on his forehead. And I was thinking, his priest must know that he has media appearances, because I never get that clean of a cross on my forehead.
I tweeted about that because someone grabbed that screen cap and it said Mark Wahlberg's 40-day challenge. And I really hope that the internet decides from now on Lent is called Mark Wahlberg's 40-day challenge.
Sure.
I think that's great. If that meme could stick, that would be awesome. Lent is forever known as Mark Wahlberg's 40-day challenge.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, having just finished Fringe, yes, it's cheating. I haven't seen Fringe.
Everyone should watch Fringe.
What does that have to do with Quantumania, though?
Because there's there's two worlds there,
Okay.
and they merge together, and so you have a version of Olivia on Earth, on the Prime world, the one you're introduced to at the beginning, and then all the characters have a counterpart on the other Earth. There's Faux Livia on the other side. There's Walter on the side and Walternate on the other side.
Lost kind of did that too.
Yeah, and in that show...
and Severance, which I think is going to get a new season soon.
Also, if anybody wants to watch the most based intro in the history of television, watch the intro to season 5 of Fringe. Actually, by this group's definition of based, that actually wouldn't be accurate. But it's a very interesting talk about the idea of freedom of thought, personal, the ability to own personal property. It's very libertarian in its ideas about season 5 because the 5th season transitions into a fascistic group of people looking to run humanity.
Steve Ryman said, question for Phil. Could Superman put Lois in the Phantom Zone and then fool around? It wouldn't be cheating? Inquiring minds want to know. That is all.
Could Lois stop Superman from putting her in the Phantom Zone?
Huh.
I don't think so.
It's giving Wonder Woman too.
And is it worse if Supergirl does it with a guy than if Superman does it with a woman?
1,000 Foot Deep End said, clarification regarding Faux Livia, it's cheating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what happens is, so Faux Livia comes over to their side, to the Earth 1 side. I don't remember if they called it Earth 1 there. And she basically gets into a relationship with Peter. And Peter, who's like pined for her for a period of time, doesn't really realize why she's acting so differently because it's not the same Olivia. And it's actually a fantastic example of great character development that the Olivia from Earth 2, played by Anna Torv, is just far nicer. She smiles more. She's more inviting. And, you know, in the real world, you would just attribute that to like, oh, she's grown to be attracted to me. But that wasn't what it was. Her fundamental personality didn't change. It's an entirely different person from another universe. It's actually it's also a great concept conversation to have about the idea of consent. And, you know, is that even the same person? Like he thinks he's in a relationship with this woman. It's not even then. It's like when somebody gets lied to, like if you got into a relationship with someone under a fake name and you find out that's not a real person.
Why does he like her anymore? Just because of her looks?
I mean, she fakes it, right? She's like, when she's doing this character, she's like half the stoic version, but then she just gives him an extra smile that never would be given to him.
Is that like an intentional deception then?
No, I think that was done in a way to prove that love was blinding. Like he was blinded by his affection for her. Like anybody watching it who's a third party, first of all, you know that it's not the same person, so you're clued into it. Right? So it's not even fair to like pass that judgment. Like, would you have known if it wasn't the same person? But narratively, you can't introduce that story that way without introducing the character to you first because it wouldn't make any sense. Then the character's just acting weird. And then if they explain it away at the end with, oh, it was somebody from another universe, it would actually be really cheap. So you have to know ahead of time as the audience. Otherwise, it doesn't have the same impact.
Regatan said, hold up, Serge. What is that shirt? Explain.
What? It's Jotaro. Yeah.
Philip Reed said, Phil, have you heard of the band Death Clock?
I have. We did a tour with them in
Oh, cool.
2012. We did a whole U.S. tour. It was super sick.
That's rad.
It was awesome.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, liking the new neon signs behind Guest 2.
Yes, that is right there. And yes, the lowered brightness does look better.
It does.
It does.
Yeah, more discernible. Search.com said, sup, Phil? Huge fan. When is the new music dropping?
Literally after the show, we can go listen to new songs in my car.
Sweet. That's what I'm looking for.
Steve Ryman said, abortion desert, oasis for life. Perspective. Exactly.
I mean, there's a point there, you know?
Yeah.
Halls and the Kid said, Surge Disney princess confirmed? Is this confirmed?
Are you a Disney princess?
What?
I don't even know where this
confused.
came from.
That's from a while ago. So apparently you're a Disney princess. Do one more, and then we will hold off on the rest.
Shimmy Shelley said, Surge tamer of stink bugs.
Yes.
Yeah. That we know.
He whispers to them.
That we can confirm. All right. Well, Mary, do you want to tell everyone about what was going on with Britney Spears? Because it leads into our topic that we were just talking about.
Yeah. I saw Keemstar tweet this video of Britney Spears where she's showing these dresses that she got custom made for her, and it's just very disturbing. She's behaving erratically as usual, but this time she's faking an Australian accent, and she keeps repeating the phrase, don't call the cops and don't be a roller coaster. And it just seems like she's telling these inside jokes with herself that only make sense to her, and nothing she says makes that much sense. And it also doesn't, the quality of the video is confusing as well, because, you know,
Let's watch it.
yeah, let's just see what your reactions are first.
Really proud, diamond panel, slip in the back, a girlfriend helped me sew it. They sent me a dress I didn't have to make myself. I can't believe it. I'm just saying. Okay, now I'm so proud. I didn't even. Thank you, company, for sending me this dress. Thank you.
Like, why the accent?
It's really bad too. It's not.
So guys, I just want you to know, if I shut down my Instagram, do not call the cops. Don't ever be a roller coaster.
Running
I got this
across
dress
the
as well.
screen.
Never be a roller coaster.
My biggest complaint is anybody of any level of means using like a watermarked version of an editing program.
Okay, I think she does it because she's like insecure about her looks or something.
I'm saying she's literally using the free version of Video Shop that puts like a logo in the corner. That's
but it's
just
like
wrong.
you would think that, you know, a celebrity of her caliber has like a team that like does her social media for her, but she still is like controlling it, and we're going back and forth. She's constantly deleting and reactivating her Instagram. Seemingly, she says for, you know, like mental health reasons or just taking a break, but whenever she comes back, she seems equally, if not more, detached from reality. And then there was this failed intervention that took place earlier this month, reportedly. I don't know who exactly involved or who called it off, but like people tried to get comment from her lawyer about it, and he wouldn't say anything. But it said, like, you know, these people in her life were worried that she was going to die, and they think she needs serious help still. And we're coming up on like a couple years after her conservatorship was terminated, and nothing, it seems, in her quality of life has improved. She's now married to this guy who I honestly don't believe actually cares about her.
Yeah.
And although she has a bulletproof prenup, why is he there other than for clout or some other nefarious reason?
He's living the life while he's with her.
Yeah, exactly. And he is, like, I guess, an actor or a model or whatever, but, you know, he obviously gains more from their relationship than she will. There were things that were really sketchy about their wedding. Firstly, that it was like stormed by her first husband, Jason Alexander, who just straight up walked inside her house without any security stopping him and recorded the whole thing and said that he's Britney's first love and her real husband.
I wish it was Kevin Federline.
It wasn't Federline, yeah.
wish it was.
But her kids are also not speaking to her. They're also like disturbed. She keeps posting nudity on social media, and it's incredibly embarrassing for them. But yeah, now like this professional interventionist from Intervention, Ken Seeley, has talked about it and how like this intervention failed. And it's probably because, you know, if one person isn't on board with that, then the whole thing crumbles. But now people are questioning, I think for justified reasons, that whether #FreeBritney actually did her life any good, and did ending her conservatorship do her any good? Did she actually just need a new conservator? And, you know, should maybe the terms of her conservatorship been changed, but she still needed somebody to be in authority over her?
I have a friend that is she's a nurse practitioner, and she deals with people with a lot of mental illness and a lot of drug use and stuff like that. There's a lot of crossover in those communities. And when she heard about the Free Britney stuff, she was like, hell no, they shouldn't free Britney. She's like, she is, you know, we're talking like normal people, and she's like, she's crazy as hell and blah blah blah. She needs another conservator, even if her dad is a bad one, blah 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 blah. So maybe she was right.
Well, it's not the nice thing to say, right?
Not.
Like, it's impolite. I guess.
Yeah.
But
Was there a lot of evidence prior to this that she was that crazy, or was it she mostly out of the public eye for a lot of those years?
She was held up.
she was
If
in
she
the
was out of
public
the-
eye in a professional capacity. So she was doing her Las Vegas residency.
Well, then how do
And
people pass that judgment that
it
she's
isn't
crazy without
normal.
knowing? Now we know.
Well, her social
Unfortunately,
media,
now we know.
her behavior on social media was worrying before the conservatorship was over, and that's what prompted people to make all of these investigative like podcasts and articles about her life and her conservator terms. So like her behavior was erratic before, but it hasn't gotten any better. It's only gotten worse. But it's prompting me to think that the Free Britney movement was actually just something that people used to live vicariously through Britney in a way that they were just thinking about the ways that they want to be free. And every time that you asked these people protesting in person, why are you here? It was like, oh, Britney told me that it was okay to be myself. She made me feel like I was, you know, free to be openly gay or to be whatever. And that just shows like Britney can't not live vicariously through, like not be lived through, vicariously by her parents, who basically like thrust her into the spotlight to be a cash cow. But she's also being vicariously lived through by her own fans who support her, and she can't escape that in any corner of society, basically. And that seems like it was a misguided attempt at like still like living vicariously through Britney Spears. If you can like free Britney Spears, then I'm gonna feel more free.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like it's just a really it's the, you know, everyone wants to jump on something that says free whoever. It's like it seems to be
it's not
noble.
Julian Assange.
Right. It's not. It's a very different
yeah.
thing. But everyone just wants to jump on and say they hear the conservatorship and they think, oh, that's got to be bad. And like I'm sure there were bad aspects to it for
there
sure.
were.
But
yeah.
but the question, like you said, remains like should she have not had a change to the actual conservatorship? Should you have another conservator in this relationship? It's definitely seems to be the case.
And it's really confusing because at this hearing disputing her conservatorship, she sounded like on this recording from court like she was so lucid and coherent. And she has in other circumstances since then. She's like posted very long like confessional audio clips talking about her experience while she was working in her residency under the conservatorship. She sounds totally coherent and present mentally. But then there are other moments where she just seems like she's not herself anymore. Like her soul has been crushed, like her spirit has been stamped out. That's what it feels like in other videos of her. So I don't know what to think. Is she off her meds? Is she on meds? Is she like, what's going on? Is she safe? And like,
if she's not harming anyone or harming herself other than making weird posts, the best argument you could make is that kind of shows poor judgment is the nudity when you've got kids and stuff like that. All this looks like to me is just somebody acting weird, right? On social media where you're encouraged to act weird. Now, if this was happening in person in a restaurant, like the thing with her and Sam Asghari having the fight at Nobu, that is more worrying to me than this.
She
but
also
general,
had that Instagram post insulting that person that worked at a fast food drive-through because she was crying when she pulled up and they asked her if she was okay.
But like so I don't know if any of that is like my inclination when I see this is like, oh my gosh, she needs help. But I know that at my worst moments, you know, hers, it could be a mixture of drugs and mental illness that has trouble getting in, under control in various levels. But that may require a doctor. I don't know if that means somebody needs to be in charge of her finances and her life. I want the best for her, but I don't know if it's my place. I don't know if it's any of our places without knowing the exact specifics of what she's going through to say whether it was right or not. I do believe that there's a very strong discussion that needs to be had about the danger of social movements without all the information.
Yeah, I think that Free Britney was just like the correct opinion to have in 2020.
Yeah.
another thing that people invented when they were locked in their houses
Bored.
during the pandemic,
to
and they were
tears.
bored, and they were coming up with problems.
I
to
don't
talk
know if
about
all of these
after the
bandwagon.
summer of love was over.
as
or
bizarre as all of
whatever,
these things, as bizarre as all these things are, depending on the day, I don't know if it adds up to she needs to lose her bodily or like her autonomy, right? Like,
What autonomy does she have anymore if she's not mentally present and she's not
it's like I
who
can't
she
know
once
that.
was?
I
mean,
can't know that.
people
We're
are commenting,
cherry picking a couple of examples.
She's stuck in 2008 because that's when she was first put under the conservatorship. That can't be true, because in 2008 she was incredibly lucid and responsible compared to where she's at right now. She's
You can also be
mentally degraded.
You can also be in crisis for a number of things, right? So it could be a change in meds. It could be going off meds and abusing drugs. I don't buy that very many, men and women in Hollywood don't have a medicine cabinet full of stuff that is messing with them on a daily basis. So this could be a reaction to just, on a bender. Right? Now that's concerning, but that's not necessarily something where the law needs to get involved and tell her she can't do that, especially if she's not actually committing a crime, right? She's just acting stupid. I understand what you're saying about the compassion. The compassionate thing is to help her be well, but I would need, I feel like the people that can actually make that judgment would have to be the people in her inner circle. And then we get into the trouble
Does she have
of
anyone in her
is there
inner
anyone in
circle?
her inner circle that's actually out to do what's best for her? Then I would say no, probably
The
not.
closest thing I think is Kevin Federline.
Does she have an inner circle anymore? I imagine.
She has her husband,
Yeah.
who is sus. She has her ex-husband.
Is Federline in her life still?
Federline. I mean,
The parents,
as far
the
as
kids?
being a co-parent, yeah, but her her kids are not speaking to her right now, reportedly. Probably because of this erratic behavior and her inappropriate posts on social media. She obviously is incredibly disturbed. And my point, saying live and let live is not the proper response, is that's essentially saying you don't care what happens to the person. If you don't intervene at some point, that's kind of a response that lacks compassion. Sometimes the compassionate response when somebody is in a time of crisis is to take control. Now, maybe that shouldn't be her dad, and she shouldn't be working during the 13 years that she doesn't have control over her own finances. Absolutely.
I guess
But
I'm...
abridge the conservatorship then, right?
Call me uncompassionate, because it's not my business.
The people whose business it is also don't care, though. That's the thing.
So look, we're adding this up off of a couple of examples that are all secondhand examples. The video, like I said, I don't trust social media because people are encouraged to act stupid on social media. Just the fact that I saw a picture of her the other day where she clearly has an iPhone 13, and this is the video that I get. What does that even mean? Why is it on such a low quality video? I don't buy that your presentation of who you are is accurate on social media. And her interactions with other people have been a couple of examples over a year where she's acted inappropriately or just acted in a strange manner. Maybe an evaluation. I could support that idea that maybe someone does an evaluation, you make sure as hell that her dad isn't involved in the process. But I'm very hesitant to employ any type of hold over someone's finances and physical, and personhood without being the one to actually do the assessment, and I can't do that.
Well,
so
the problem
perhaps
was
I
they
am
were
uncompassionate.
They were inflicting things on her forced labor, forced sterilization. Obviously, those things aren't okay. The people who were in charge of her before the conservatorship was terminated are not trustworthy. Clearly, that's been shown.
So then how do you find someone that is?
Is the legion of internet warriors who we should trust? The FreeBritney movement? The New York Times documentary?
I do feel like that the court the court proceedings that ended the conservatorship had at least something to do with their
social media pressure.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was.
Do you think so?
I mean, I don't know how all of those things work.
Well, they said
legally,
there was no competency hearing when they just ended it. They didn't do like another evaluation. They just ended it, right? So if they just
isn't
ended
there
it,
like such a thing as a statute of limitations on those things, or you need to periodically check in a minimum number of years window, right? Like that should be
it's a
thing,
very
right?
and plus like once you get into something like this, look how hard it was to get her out of it. Like that's, to me, that should give you pause about like if she's, like I said, if she's acting weird, but she's not harming other people, and in America we're allowed to be weird. Like I know that's not probably won't be a popular answer here, and yes, it sucks that the people that involved, like her kids, but that's just the status quo that's given by the fact that she has procreated, right? But
I guess
she's
this
still
is
allowed
just-
to be weird.
I feel like Mary's saying someone should, and you're saying the state shouldn't. And I don't know that those two things are actually in conflict.
But for someone to do it, the state needs to be involved.
Not necessarily. I mean, they're talking
at-
about an
the
intervention.
law will have to be involved.
They're
So, yeah,
talking
the state
about
will be
an
involved.
attempt to stage an intervention in
Yeah.
her life that happened earlier this month that failed for some reason. That
I don't
we
know what the intervention would be. Like I said, this screams to me.
Yo,
like,
crazy woman!
like,
Stop being crazy on the internet.
If you guys
That's the
could have,
intervention.
luckily for me, at my worst moments during my drug abuse, I never felt the need to
You never
record
recorded
myself.
and posted
But if
it.
you saw some of that shit, you would think I was every bit as batshit crazy as she was. But I was just smart enough to not do that, right? Like I just.
Well, that means you did have more control and autonomy and awareness than her because you didn't record and post it.
I mean, yeah, but that might be a personality trait.
I don't know
like,
about
a
that.
personality trait for me. She's also an entertainer who's been in front of a camera her whole life. It's second nature.
There
to
are a
her.
lot of like coping replies to this saying like she's just goofing off, she's having fun on
That
social
is not-
media.
I mean, like-
what? Who cares? You know, she's gone through a lot.
It looks
Whatever.
like a
She
drug
seems
binge to
happy.
me.
Like it's just saying she seems happy. LOL is not really.
She seems like she's
justified
happy
response.
for sure, you know. But it looks like.
I mean, it looks like
it's
manic
a bender.
happiness
It
from
looks
drugs
like
to me,
manic
but,
mania
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I understand. I wonder if like the answer is that it does have to be someone who is willing to be like, I'm a real Britney stan, and I'm gonna get some people and go. We're gonna go and do
Free
it.
Britney
a
2.0.
private-
Anything
That's the only thing I can see it happening. If it's not going to be the state, and if it's not going to be people that are in her family, that's the only hope.
This is
that
such
she
an
have.
unsatisfying ending.
It's hopeless.
That's what
It
I'm
is.
saying.
It's one of the most
It
hopeless
sucks.
things
It
I've ever
sucks.
heard.
And the
It's-
thing is, like, but I mean, essentially, that it seems like Mary is advocating for the same kind of treatment that we do, like people that have serious alcoholism or drug. Like it sounds like Mary's saying that she needs an intervention.
Personal things,
Yeah, personal
yeah.
things, and
Those
it
don't
should-
work when they don't want help either.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
True. But I agree that we shouldn't be just tossing weirdos into state homes. You know, like
Yeah.
just because you're a little odd doesn't mean you lose your liberty. And there probably is some way to navigate this generally, but I don't know.
The state
if
will have to be involved.
specifically-
If it,
I don't
if it
know
involves money, that
specifically-
means the state will have to be involved at some point because somebody will have to appoint someone to take care of things.
Do you think
right?
she has a will?
I'm sure she has.
I mean,
a will.
I can't imagine why these people would report they think her life is in danger if drugs weren't involved.
You know what they need to do? Somebody needs to invent like an app for her phone. So every time she goes to post a video, it hits you with that message. It says, "Are you sure you want to post this?" And like she has to give a fingerprint agreement. Like, yes, I want to post this ridiculous video. Like, at least make her think about it twice before she posts
You
it.
sure you're trying to ruin your day?
I think Twitter actually already has
sure
that.
you wanna do this?
Twitter gives you a notice. It's like
Yeah.
people don't usually post these kinds of things on Twitter.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to post it?
Or about like, do you
I
want
don't know what you're talking about at all, Mary. What are you posting on Twitter?
You've never gotten that.
Or have you seen like it's
I
like
have no-
it
I've
says,
never gotten that at all.
There's a thing. It says like this person you are trying to follow has repeatedly posted false information. Are you sure you want to follow this person?
That's on Instagram, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Instagram.
So like maybe what we need to do is she needs a real life version of that to be like. But here's the thing.
She needs a minder.
This is how trapped and hopeless her life has to be. There is no out for this. There's no one you can trust. Maybe her kids. Like maybe her kids are the only solution.
But they're
to
not
this.
even adults yet.
But they're not even adults yet.
Or they are adults, but they're very young.
And everyone else,
they're
even down to her
clearly
kids,
fed up with
has
it.
a financial incentive to go against her best interest. This is why I think it is short-sighted and weird when people dismiss celebrity problems all the time. Imagine you're somebody like Britney Spears. You've got problems like this. The world is not your own anymore. You don't get to just go out and get groceries. You don't get to go out and get something to eat, go to the movies. You are now going to be subjected to the opinions, looks, and thoughts of every single person in the world, and that
That's why
has to be
celebrities
some
get
kind
mansions.
of hell. Yeah, that has to be some kind of hell.
Celebrities get mansions that are essentially mini towns or villages.
That's why they get
because
staff
they
and
can't
personal
leave.
assistants.
Yeah.
They can't leave without it being an official appearance.
It's, well,
That's why
like-
Blake Lively hid her pregnancy.
Or no, what did Mariah Carey said she doesn't leave the house from less than $1 million or something like that? Like
Is that a joke, or was
no,
she
no. She said
serious?
she said the financial cost of leaving the house between security and time management means that nothing short of $1 million payday is worth leaving her home.
That's funny.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I assume that her checks are gigantic, so
Yeah.
you would need to really, really compensate. If she knows that, every quarter she's getting
Yay amount of money.
20 whatever million or whatever, whatever it is, some gigantic, massive check, and she knows all her bills are paid, you really do have to pay someone a lot of money if they don't feel like doing something. You have to make it, worth their while.
Yeah.
So I think it does kind of call into question, like I said, the motives of all the people who jumped on the Free Britney movement. I don't know if I disagree. Now, I would agree that most of the people that use that hashtag didn't put a whole lot of thought into it and just thought her dad's a bad person, and he clearly was. Yeah. But it is.
It
what
was
is.
mostly like Free Britney under.
But even then who?
And then
Then who?
underneath, like. It's just like I identify with Britney,
Yeah.
and I think that she is put upon, and I am also put upon for being a supporter of hers.
Maybe her sister.
No, she's been proven to be untrustworthy as well.
It's a hopeless life to live.
Well, that's
I'd
the
be a
thing.
little nuts too.
It's such an unsatisfying and tragic ending, not only for her, but also all the people that thought they had power. When the conservatorship ended, it felt like a big win, and it felt like there might be a way that you can crowdsource actual results.
Well,
but it didn't happen.
Where's Chris Crocker when you need him? Can I just
Well,
ask
Chris
that?
Crocker is actually not Chris Crocker anymore.
Oh yeah,
Chris
that's
Crocker,
true. That's true. But
identifies as a female. So.
But I just to make the point, that's why I still think that it has to. If no one's going to do anything, there has to be. You're right. The difficult part about this is the financial incentive.
If they had listened to Chris Crocker back in the day, then she wouldn't have been.
She wouldn't have turned out like this, maybe.
Put into a conservatorship in the first place.
Yep.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Quiet Inari said, Brett, you can have my socialism monopoly. Boring AF.
Oh, was it? It's like $100 on eBay. I was looking for it
isn't
the other
the point
day.
that it's boring and it's just a novelty?
It's just, I mean...
Monopoly is only fun when it's capitalist.
Everybody loses, in the game. There was a
Yeah.
great meme earlier. It was it says, I don't think I'm going to be able to pay my rent, unbuttons blouse. And then it says, I think I can help with that, unzips pants. And then it shows people going like this. It says everybody else playing Monopoly.
Inferno Core said, I have autism, don't know if her partner has it. The engineer, I study electrical engineering, but if she treats him that way, it's belittling. I don't need anyone to treat me like that. Rock on Phil.
Yes, thank you. And I agree with you.
She's treating him like a child.
Yeah.
Like it's extremely degrading. And that's also the proof of propaganda on the internet. You'll see videos like that. They'll get timed to Sarah McLachlan songs, and people will think it's okay to treat other human beings like that. Also, I love that maybe we can turn into a thing now where engineer just becomes synonymous with autism. We'll just turn oh, you must be engineer.
Like anyone in STEM.
You must be engineer. Just
No, I think a lot of women in STEM are just looking for a husband.
Are you an engineer? Why don't you go over in the corner and do a little math to calm down?
exactly. Oh, it's they all think it's Rain Man. The person can be Rain Man, and they're just gonna solve all the world's problems.
Yeah. Big Fat Baby Legs said, how do I get Mary to notice I exist?
With a great username like Big Fat Baby Legs.
Yeah,
That's
I guess
how.
I just did.
Also, super chats work apparently.
Yes.
Michael Stonecipher said, finished Hitmonkey, was really good, Brett, would like a lot, mainly quit Marvel other than that. Might have to watch again.
No, there's nothing wrong with quitting Marvel. I didn't even go see Ant-Man Quantumania. like, I can't do
You're
it.
just fatigued.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
They haven't beaten me down yet, though. Bert Feg said, down on my luck, so went to the bar, told bartender to surprise me. He showed me a naughty picture of my girlfriend.
Ugh, it's awful.
For some reason, I don't think this actually happened.
Could have. You never know.
Perturbed Alpaca said, feeding into delusions is delusional, Surge, not polite or kind. As far as the pronouns thing.
Totally. I mean, I agree, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not also going to upset the social fabric in a store because I've now just said someone like,
That's
"What's up, dude?" or "Hey, man," when a person is clearly trying to present themselves in a particular way.
So it's not politeness; it's self-preservation, right?
Yeah, because it is.
Just never claim
it is,
politeness.
but it's just me. I guess you could call it politeness. It's more just me avoiding a struggle session that's going to suddenly erupt.
Yeah.
And now I'm on TikTok and I'm on YouTube, and people are like, "Oh
Right.
no!" It's like,
Look, it's the guy from Timcast.
Right. That is now another thing that's compounding that, and I just don't want to deal with it. I've lived in Hollywood. I know what is okay and what is not okay to do, and I'd rather just
People are going to be backed into more corners
Of course.
in their
It may be.
professional
Yeah.
lives, where if you don't
then there's
comply with this,
there's a
then
time
you
to stand
will
up
get
for it.
your life ruined.
Totally. There's a time to stand up for it, and there are times I'm just trying to get a burrito, and I'd like to go my merry way. You know what I
same
mean?
thing that happened with
Personally,
masks.
I don't buy burritos from that many transgender individuals.
It's
but
the same thing
when
that
it
happens with masks. When we were at stores and people would come up to you and say, like, "You're not wearing your mask." Or like, I saw people doing it the other way. I saw people who were like, "Why are you wearing a mask in public?" I'm like, dude, if that dude wants to wear a mask, I don't give a crap if that dude wants to wear a mask, right? Like, it's not the point of I'm not in Target to get into a fight with someone, and it's not about being polite or because I'm a nice person. I just don't care enough about you to have an interaction with you.
That's pretty much what it is.
when it was mask mandatory stuff. I wore a mask because of the fact that I carried a gun, or I carry a gun, and I don't want to fight with anybody about my mask.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a path of least resistance.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
exactly.
But here's the problem. Then people who are the most ideologically inclined the
take
other
over.
way say, "Well, that's your fault for not standing up for the principles of America," and then they make it a thing so that they can do right wing virtue signaling.
And then I just
Twitter.
tell them, "Look, I don't want a gunfight with you either."
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was like, they're just as annoying as the person on the other side. They're all freaking annoying.
Yeah, it is.
Overdressed said, please say, I hope your migraine gets better, Shats, for my boyfriend. We're both big fans. Well, I said it.
There you go.
There you go.
I hope it does get better. Bobcat said, if Phil isn't giving everyone using headphones a traumatic brain injury, he's being relatively low energy.
Well, we've got
Relatively.
I
yes.
finally put limiters on these headphones, so it should.
Yes! Thank God!
It's catching it, yeah.
One more time.
Yes! Thank God for compression!
I've got my crisis party sound effect for next week. What's the time stamp on that? 1 hour and 32 minutes. Good. Nice. All right. I'm going to clip that for later.
Perfect.
Perturbed Alpaca said, what does it say about my childhood that I didn't recognize that Billy Mays was yelling until I was an adult? Also, are we an alpaca pack now, or is there just a few of us?
What is a group of alpaca?
A flock?
Is it a flock?
Yeah.
No.
Right?
I don't know.
Or is it a herd?
I'm checking now.
Yeah.
Actually,
without the
it
old
must
iPhone.
This is
be a
this is
herd.
literally what the internet was created for.
Because there's like a sheep, there's a flock of sheep, but is there a herd of cows?
They're saying herd in the chat. Steve Ryman says herd.
But they seem
Herd,
they
yeah.
seem more similar to sheep than
Herd.
cows.
Is it crows that are a murder?
Yeah.
A murder of crows?
I pet an
Murder
alpaca the other day. They're really soft, but
Yeah.
they kind of scare me and they have weird teeth.
They do.
Hobbit said, I do not want Jeffree to be a relatable personality to be relatable personally.
And I would like to push back on the idea of Matt Walsh saying that he's not relatable. Like, Mary is a perfectly normal person who watched Jeffree Star. It's not like all the people that watch Jeffree Star look like Jeffree Star, right? It's a
Sure.
personality. Just like all the people who listen to
But his
ICP don't look
personality-
like ICP.
His personality is, of course, not something like I relate to on almost any level.
There's a performer. He's an entertainer.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, and I do think, like, just like when people at the Daily Wire dismiss outside of Dallas and the people producing movies dismiss the importance of movies and television and stuff like this, I don't
think they do.
They do. Candace Owens repeatedly has, as far as I know, has neglected the importance of these means of entertainment.
Yeah, she has.
About just how relevant it is to moving the needle for culture in your direction. There's a reason why it worked so well for classical liberalism in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s in movies and television. I mean, you could always argue that Hollywood was always red, it was always going that direction, but they made a lot of inroads into middle America through media. And so they dismiss it to their own peril.
It's funny because Jeffree Star had an influence on both millennials and Gen Z, but those influences, the impact of Jeffree Star on each generation was different.
Very different.
I mean, that speaks
Like compare the impact
That's
Jeffree
impressive.
Star had on his millennial fans to the one that he had on his Gen Z fans like me who were watching him in high school. Like it's so different because he camouflaged so well as like one of them.
Yeah.
You know, Joseph said, "I don't know how you all do this every day without going crazy." I don't know either.
You know, I ask myself that
carefully.
question. So when people say nice things, that makes it easier. But
We need a skylight for more sunlight in this room.
I
That's the
do
thing.
have periods of time where it's like politics was not worse to vote to care about 24/7, but it's like it's almost like everyone understands the importance of politics, right? So you kind of resign yourself to caring about it because you know that it matters. Stuff like this, it does matter, but a lot of people dismiss it, and that almost makes it worse.
People don't understand how much.
You know, like this, all this stuff. What you're interested in, art, its expression, and stuff like that, it is the bigger thing. Few people are really interested in politics in a way that they're able to like really be able to like explicate their position.
Stream went down again and then came back up again. It looks like, guys, are we
Stream
back?
issues?
It seems that we're back up now.
Chat's going, but they're saying
Jumped again. It jumped. We're back. So hopefully, just bad internet today, or it's Britain out to get us again after that thing yesterday.
Oh,
it's Meghan and Harry.
It's Meghan and Harry. We
Trying to
criticized the
censor
royals,
us.
and so they're guys. Don't worry, we're gonna send an email to Meghan and Harry and complain about their what they're doing to us right now.
We're
So,
looking into
we're looking
legal
into
action. 1,000 Foot Deep End said, thinking more on the Fringe series, I amend my previous statement.
Oh,
Whether
it's
or
down
not
again.
Peter knew, in reality, it's still cheating on his part as well.
Wait, say that again.
It said whether or not Peter knew, in reality, it's still cheating on his part.
So he's cheating even though he didn't know it wasn't what? I have to be missing something here.
Michael Williams said, for Phil, what are some bands, musicians that inspired All That Remains? Also, Alex Jones is Never Wrong is my favorite Timcast moment of all time.
Alex Jones is never wrong. Some of my favorite bands. Are you talking about? I don't know if you're talking about like historically or like new stuff. Historically, like bands like Metallica, At the Gates, Grave, Entombed, Slayer. Yeah,
sweet.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, I did love the evolution of the Fringe intros throughout all the seasons.
Look, how could it be cheating on Peter's part if he's with the same woman? It's literally
Gears are turning. In your head right
it's
now.
played by the same actress. Maybe I just haven't seen it in a while, so maybe I'm missing something. They're both played by Anna Torv. It's the same woman.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know. God forbid he doesn't know she's from another freaking dimension. Am I missing? I might be missing
If he
something.
finds out,
And then he finds out, and then
know.
yes, but as far as I remember, and I could be misremembering this, they weren't together beforehand. The whole reason they got together in the first place is because, Olivia number 2 made a move. He got together with Olivia number 2 first because the Olivia number 1 was emotionally unavailable and was not in the picture at the time. I could be misremembering this, but I'm gonna have to watch it again and see if I can write a dissertation about this because I don't find it cheating if he didn't know.
Perturbed Alpaca said, Star is mentally ill, and all anyone does by pushing him is tacitly support the insanity that has been roiling since 2011. 2011? That's a very random year.
Also, I want to point out that every telenovela in history, I'm going back to the previous one here, that every telenovela in history
All right.
has a twin sister motif where the guy ends up like...
We're talking about how Jeffree Star is mentally ill.
Yeah, and I'm talking like, look...
And another thing about...
like, I can't get my head. I was like, they did a thing in an episode of Warehouse 13 where he talks about how like a guy like he cheats on her with her twin sister after her twin sister like disappeared. He goes, but he didn't know it was her. Is that even cheating? He goes, stop thinking about it so hard. Like I don't even know. Okay, read that one again. I don't want to dismiss the one we just read.
Star is mentally ill, and all anyone does by pushing him is tacitly support the insanity that has been roiling. Is that a word?
Yes.
I've never heard that word since 2011.
Do you think Jeffree Star is mentally ill, or just a keen businessman? People wear costumes to work all the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't say mental illness. I would say he's just incredibly unique and scarily ambitious and scarily smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can say anyone that's doing something that's not like what you would consider like normal or what you're used to is being, oh, they have a mental illness.
Also, just remember
say
that's a scary window into the idea that both sides are extremely authoritarian when they disagree.
Bigfoot biologist said, "Subsurge, glad to see you able to talk more. Phil, your Secret Service tweet this morning had me in stitches. Good show, sir."
Is that the one, the picture of Trump at the thing?
Yeah.
With the...
I just thought
that was good.
I just thought they looked the same. It wasn't like trying to be like a glitch in the Matrix or anything.
Same dude.
It was funny. They looked similar. It was like same dude. And then people were like, "No, you're crazy. You're." It's like not everything is like conspiracy theory. Sometimes I'm just shit posting.
So true.
Oh, I don't even have it here. I don't even. I got rid of the. Oh no, I do have it here. Let's move on to the next topic. But before we do, given what we were just talking about Donald Trump, I thought we'd point out this video resurfaces of Sylvester Stallone trashing Trump water after his.
I knew that Trump water was a thing.
Yeah, like yesterday,
I would have
I'm like,
bet my life on that.
Yesterday, I'm like, he should bring Trump water to Ohio, to East Palestine, right? And then I found out that it was actually a real thing. So yeah.
Yeah, it's for his hotels and etc. His golf courses. You have to have branded water for your
Sylvester Stallone said he wouldn't wash his socks with Trump water.
I would wash my socks.
It's water.
It's water.
All right, we're moving on, guys. So we're done. So if you remember, not too long ago, almost a year ago, in fact, Will Smith got very, very angry after his wife gave him a very, very mean look, and he decided to show his manhood by being completely cucked and going on stage and slapping Chris Rock to supposedly defend the honor of his wife, the absolutely atrocious Jada Pinkett Smith. Well, now they are going to there's a crisis team that's working on the Oscars, running scenarios to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen again.
What you need is Jada Pinkett Smith control.
Yeah, just don't bring her.
Because she's the one that did it.
Yeah.
Like,
did it? I mean,
she caused it.
You look at Will Smith; it was like just an automaton just stood up, walked up, and did the bidding of the wizard. I mean, Neuralink.
Activated.
You can't see it. She probably did it.
That's what it looked like.
She's probably got a hand motion. She patted his leg twice, and he immediately like.
Well, you could see him checking her facial expression for how he should react, which is the telltale sign, like Prince Harry, of being a beta cuck.
She activated him.
And I think that beta cucks are the most dangerous men in our society. Yeah. They're the most willing to fly off the handle, you know? They're the most volatile.
Never trust a male feminist.
Never trust a male feminist.
It's so
Never
funny.
be alone with a male feminist.
I've been watching a lot of Buffy, and it's really funny how there is like exactly that type of commentary about the type of men you can't trust in Buffy. That's like exactly who Joss Whedon ended up proving himself to be down the line.
Wow. That is true.
Any of those people, and it's hilarious. Like I wonder how much of it, like they were like, "Wow, this is getting a little close to." I think it was just such a different world in the late '90s that they just didn't see it that way. Like just the fact, like I point out the other, I'm like, did nobody think it was weird that Giles just hangs out with these teenagers, and nobody thinks it's weird that an old librarian just hangs out with teenagers, and her mom's like, "Cool, nothing untoward there." Just a teenage girl hanging out with like a librarian in his 40s at like night at the library.
They were teenagers in that show, weren't they?
16, but there's also like there's scenes where she's like leaving the library with a gun, and the principal just doesn't look twice at it. It's like I love this show. It's incredible. But yes, Chris Rock. Maybe Chris Rock should host. Like that would be great. Like it would be fantastic, and they have him put like a face mask on. Like
I don't see why not.
Will
like
Smith
why
should host, and everybody should have a Chris Rock mask.
or like
PTSD.
Yeah,
like Will Smith can show, but he can only come via satellite because he's not allowed in the building.
Doesn't Chris Rock deserve a second chance?
Yeah, he does.
You know,
he does.
So.
He hasn't accepted.
He
Will's
recovered
apology.
very well for the situation.
Yep,
he did.
when he made a lot of money off of it too. Like his ticket sales went way up. But yeah, it says
Like live, I wouldn't know how to react to that.
It says we have a whole crisis team, something we've never had before, and many plans are in place. We're running scenarios. So now I'm picturing, my idea is like, imagine like
So bizarre.
Michael B. Jordan is about to win an award and some insult comes and he's like, run the Michael B. Jordan is about to slap Bradley Cooper scenario. And they're running like based on the size of the actor. Like, does he have has he been arrested before? Does he have a history of violence? We'll know how many security guards to have in place based on their permanent record.
Everybody gets an Iron Man suit as they walk up on stage, and anyone comes to slap the Iron Man helmet just automatically jumps
all
on
they need, they don't need a crisis team. They just need somebody who can like shoot a net over whoever
That's a good
approaches the
idea.
stage and just drag them away. Or
The net that goes up and picks them up in the air as they're walking.
oh, I was thinking of like what's that hook that you put around the sheep to pull them?
The
Just
around.
a shepherd's staff.
The shepherd's crook?
Yeah, like a shepherd's crook.
Yeah.
To like comically drag someone off stage behind the curtains.
It's
or
a sound,
whatever.
and then to soften it, they play like wacky sound effects.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all fun and games here, guys, and you just hear him yelling, he's like, I'm gonna fucking get you, dude.
Yep.
Like,
Do you think more people are gonna watch the Oscars this year, hoping that something will go wrong?
What about if it's just like airbags on a necklace, like just where
Have you ever
big
seen that?
pillows expand? Like
That's a thing.
airbags expand around
Have
your
an
head.
emergency button. To
Yeah.
There's a jacket that does that. There's a jacket that you can
Really?
buy that, like, if like it should. There's these great videos, like the guy's like riding a bike and he falls off the bike and it becomes a helmet that goes over your head. Like they give all the actors have special suits where like their face gets like it's like motion censored. So as they see a hand, effeminately reaching up to slap you because you're a dude, and like your face gets blocked by like a cutting board or something and just hits the board.
I'm just imagining like using an Oscar as a blunt force object. It would probably hurt pretty bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I just want to see Will Smith like actually, take up Dana White on his offer to join Power Slap and see if he can make a career out of this. I think that's the only way he's going to be able to pivot this.
and somebody like, have you ever heard those? Like they did the remixes of the song of him doing that. That's his walkout music.
Oh,
So
yo,
keep my wife's name. And it's like,
That would be sick.
yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Actually really cool.
But just
White.
like only in Hollywood are they running like national security level like scenarios on what could happen of the most like unthreatening people in the world. It's not like any of the people you expect to do it are going to do it. John Cena's not going to get up there and give someone a power bomb. The Rock isn't going to do it.
Maybe they deep faked the entire thing and they were just testing out the technology.
I'm so down.
Those tears are real.
Actually, there was a lot
And
of
Will Smith's apology video.
There was a bunch of conspiracies that were like, look at Chris Rock's face. He's wearing like a plate that to
What?
stop. Yeah, they were saying like that he had like some type of sock or something like over his face that was like supposed to block the.
If that's
hit.
true, I wouldn't
It's
put
not
anything
true.
past.
It's not true.
Well, just
Hollywood,
imagine
but I
like
don't
not
think
being
it
able to
is.
just take the slap.
I mean, the more likely scenario is just that Will Smith is whipped.
Yeah,
as all
definitely.
hell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funnier if it is fake and they actually like Chris Rock is actually just such a wimp that he like asks that they put like a fake thing on his face just to get slapped.
I feel like he took the slap.
Like he took the slap. Like but the other arguments are like, look at him, he's leaning out, he's like sticking his chin out for him to hit him, and I'm like,
Dude.
like I love the internet.
I
This
love
is why
that his
love
first
the internet.
response was, It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Yeah, I know. I literally was landing on a plane into Burbank Airport in Hollywood when this happened, and it was like the first news everyone had gotten their phone, or had some people had been on the internet, obviously, when it happened, like that same night. So people were already on the plane saying all of these things, and it was just like the talk inside the plane where people were talking about, did you see this? Everyone knows about it. It just like instantaneously, everyone's talking about it, you know. And all the like conspiracies of he clearly like took the
you saw a psyop happen in real time.
Yeah, everyone had their own theories. And
he was seen a week before
friends,
with
guys. It's clearly Jada is like just manipulating.
You know what the ultimate?
It's just ridiculous.
The ultimate slap in the face this year is if Jada goes alone.
Yeah.
Without.
Well, he's not banned anymore, is he? Didn't they repeal it?
I think he's still banned.
Wow.
Like, because they were just recently saying that they should have done more.
She might go alone. Like, I wouldn't.
She's awful enough to do that.
But it really, like, Slapgate was a display of our culture's like emasculation.
Yeah.
Basically. Thank you.
Well, even people who are like, oh my God, more needed to be done. I'm like, dude, have you never been in a bar? People slap each other in bars all the time. Just because it's a bunch of...
It's not a bar, though.
It's still, like, I don't care.
Like Chris Rock probably should have been defended by their private security detail, which they guaranteed do have.
The worst part is the fact that all of these awards, between that and the guy getting on stage with Chappelle, like a week later.
Right. Yeah.
And... Gotcha. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like the Chappelle, somebody got on stage a week later at Chappelle's show and no security stopped them. Like, who was hiring these like really, really incompetent security companies that are not doing their jobs?
They just sit there and watch? I mean, they must have
much.
assumed that it was choreographed, right?
But yeah, then it's just a breakdown in communication.
But also,
the security guards just didn't know what was going on.
Did you see like a bit of fear in Chris Rock's face before Will Smith made it up the stage?
Looked like confusion to me.
He was walking for like 30 seconds. Maybe he thought that Will Smith was going to take the mic and like joke around with him.
Yeah, I imagine
but his face looked so serious that it's like he's clearly threatening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he did just scream out the Oscar, you know.
Yeah, but it was more of like a play, like it was like a tragic play.
Right.
And then he got to go to the award shows after winning Best Actor.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Still
nothing
won
happened.
Best Actor.
Like
Just chilling at the after party, like nothing happened.
don't you just go home after that?
You should just go home
and reflect?
You know?
And reflect a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
What a fall from grace the French Prince has had.
But he felt like he had to save face. You know.
See, what'll happen this year is Jada will go. She'll go with Willow and with what's his name, Jaden. She'll go with the kids. I'm like, well, I didn't want to
She'll
go.
go with Jaden with Jaden's buddy that she was sleeping with.
Or his friend.
Like,
she was?
The entanglement.
Oh yeah.
The entanglement, right.
The whole thing is just a
Their family is just
gross mess. It's a mess.
not good at hiding their dirty laundry.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can have whatever kind of family you want, but obviously Will Smith is not pleased with it. It is not working for everybody in the family.
Yeah.
Totally. I didn't think Will Smith could have done anything worse after YouTube Rewind, but he like seriously
his apology video is worse.
Keeps upping the ante.
That's true. He does keep upping the ante. The apology video was horrendous. It was
Never.
like, dude, what are you doing?
He could have done it with a phone and it would have been more genuine.
Yeah. I agree.
Also, that old video of Jada recording him in their house about Red Table Talk was just horrific.
Disgusting.
Someone put this woman in her place.
It was such, like, I saw that and I was like, this is straight up abuse.
Yeah.
This is emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Maybe he should get a conservatorship.
Also, if they co-own the house they live in, is it therefore both their private property and they can record anything they want in it? But what if one person doesn't want to be recorded in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, even regardless of the legality of that kind of situation, it's like
it's obviously super manipulative.
Yeah, she's super manipulative, and she doesn't care how he feels. It's all about her. There's nothing good about that interaction at all.
Yeah, lady, that's Will Smith. Okay, come
but
on.
we're being told now that women should like the Pip video. Women, the performance improvement plan. I put my boyfriend on probation. That women should like keep their boyfriends and husbands on a leash, and that's going to make them happy. But it really makes everyone miserable.
Yep.
Everyone loses in that scenario.
Yep. It's against nature.
Yeah.
Right.
I would think so too.
I mean, is it not?
It
are
is.
you joking or are
No,
you
I'm
serious?
not.
I wasn't joking.
It goes against your natural inclinations by gender.
And that
right?
doesn't mean that I think like women should be battered housewives. Like I'm tired of the intellectually dishonest.
No comment.
I just I don't know. Like I feel bad for him, but like he would have to move out too. You know, she keeps the house if they split up.
I mean,
she totally ends up staying in the house.
He's got his name, and that's like just so long as
He's obviously better than her in every measurable way.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know about that.
he's more talented than her.
I mean,
he's definitely a bigger draw.
Impossible to debate that.
They're making a new.
Money's from Will. Like in reality, Jada had a couple things like okay, but let's be real here about who is the primary breadwinner in this situation.
Yeah.
And Jada got a lot of her attention
because of
after they got married because of Will.
Plus, I just screw up and I mix up her and Halle Berry all the time.
When Jada Smith was on Ozfest, all my friends were excited about meeting her husband. Right?
Yeah, right.
In like 2006
exactly.
or whatever, 2005, whenever they were on. All my friends were like, "Yo, dude, I just met Will Smith."
Like she's
Jada
just
brought him
jealous of
over,
him.
you know. So
definitely.
All right, we got some super chats there, Mary.
Goofer Trooper said, "Phil, I'm going to need a medal. Let's go."
Did we kind of do that already? Let's go! I mean, that's not really the metal one. I haven't even really unleashed any of the big screamy ones. I'm just yelling.
Yeah. Unusable Alpaca said, "Who is they them though?"
That's a fantastic question.
Probably a leftist.
That's a very good question.
Jimbo said, to Mary's point, Johnny Cash's family took control. I don't know about Johnny Cash's situation.
It also proves the importance of family that seems to be neglected by Hollywood these days. That, you know,
Except for Fast and Furious.
exactly. Except for,
Family.
and even that's like barely biological family. That's the
That's about chosen family.
That's surrogate
That's-
family.
Right.
That's I mean to be fair, they have kids now in there, so there's like a new generation of them. But yeah, it's still like, and that's what the Shazam movie's about. A lot of it too is surrogate family.
Yeah.
But like the idea that you're going to be happy with your money in 50 years, like Chelsea Handler when she's 75 years old, like who's going to take care of you? Really? Like, is it really going to be fulfilling enough to pay someone to do that? Like, there was a take on Twitter that just blew my mind where somebody was talking about, I don't remember who it was talking about like women are better at building social groups than men, which is why they're happier. I was like, well,
that
that's
was
Hannah Cox. I was like, well, that's first of all, that's wrong. Like that's objectively wrong. And,
Is she talking now to the boys
Wait,
right
what was
now?
her take?
Does she know about the boys?
I don't think
Does
she
she
knows
know about
the boys.
bussin' with the bros?
She does not.
No. Wait, what was she saying?
She was saying that women are better at building social groups. So, like, what do you remember the basic principle of it? It was
Women
like,
are better at building social relationships, and that's why women won't be sad
Lonely.
in the future, and
Like-
men are not. But the difference is, men don't have to have the same kind of social
Wait.
interactions. that
basically when
Was her
she's
take that husbands get social interaction
From
off
their
of
wives.
the
Yes.
wives
Yes.
bringing them to social functions?
Yes.
but also that like when she's
That's
70,
so American Beauty.
yeah, and when she's 75, it won't matter if she's not married because she's got friends. I'm like, well, your friends aren't gonna wipe up your crap when you're sick and dying.
Right.
Like they're not.
True.
Very short-sighted.
Tacti Platy said, IG gives me those follow warnings for my page.
Perfect.
You're spreading misinformation.
Based-
Helmsway said, can't wait for Cocaine Bear.
Yes.
Neither can
not,
I.
Not too long now. We're very excited. I am willing to separate art from annoying director and give this one a shot.
What if it's just like the wokest movie ever?
That would almost
You're,
be
like,
funnier.
shocked.
I would almost be
funny.
impressed because then the marketing totally fooled me. Like,
Yeah.
like in a way,
Total
good-
bait and switch.
Total bait and switch. Go for it.
Mr. Toad said, Phil, do you have a relationship with Tim Lambesis?
Tim Lambesis.
Lambesis? I grew up with As I Lay Dying, and I wonder how you have been affected by his situation.
I do not have a relationship with Tim Lambesis. I know who he is. We've met. We toured together. He's nice to me. He wasn't so nice to his wife, obviously, but...
Oh.
Who's his wife?
So Tim Lambesis is the singer of As I Lay Dying, and he one time told a police officer that he would give him $5,000 if the police officer would kill his wife. And then he went to jail for this. So He's paid his debt to society. And I believe that we should allow people that have paid their debts to society to re-enter society, but I don't have a relationship with him. So yeah, it's weird that people bring
Did they
that up.
prove that he like said it like he was saying it seriously? He wasn't saying it as like
he was found guilty. Went
Wait,
to
so
jail,
he went to a cop and said this?
He didn't
Was
realize
it a joke?
He didn't.
Oh, it was an undercover cop. I was like,
he was looking for someone to kill his wife. He went to a police officer because the police found out that he was looking for someone to kill his wife.
wow.
So this is the long and short of the story. I don't know
Yikes.
all the details. But I do know that he went to jail for this.
I heard about some like prolific tweeter who was recently shot by the cops while he was trying to stab his wife to death.
Oh.
She survived, but
That's a good
he had
one.
actually tweeted a bunch of jokes about like getting shot by cops and trying to stab people, and it was like almost prophetic in a really dark way.
Creepy.
But I guess if you tweet enough times, you'll have tweeted everything. So
Eventually,
people
you'll have said something that will come true.
Yeah, you'll predict something.
The Simpsons isn't prophetic. They just have had so many episodes that eventually they're gonna.
Every
like
premise.
people don't realize that they
That's
got.
not, like when you post those old clips of Alex Jones, you're like, he predicted this. Like he
said so
predicted
many
everything.
things.
Yeah.
He will say anything, and he said almost everything on air in the past.
Well, that's how psychics work, right? You don't remember the misses, you remember the hits.
Yep, true.
Potatoes for Seamus said, how do I get Serge to stop hating me and love potatoes?
I don't hate you, bro. Like, what do you mean?
But do you love potatoes?
Yeah, I love potatoes.
Perfect.
Carbs.
Potatoes great.
what's
I
that?
lived in Idaho for years. My parents currently live in Idaho. I love potatoes.
It's a means of admission to get there, right? Like you have to love potatoes if you live in Idaho.
Surprisingly, actually, fun fact about Idaho: we don't actually have like big potatoes in Idaho. We ship them out to everywhere else. So all the Idaho potatoes are actually pretty small. Honestly.
It's not like they still have lots of dairy in Wisconsin, even though all the milk is made there. And cheese.
Glenn
Yeah,
RK4 said, hey Phil, have you heard of a band named Hollywood Undead that
Yes.
every member sings and plays instruments?
That's a band that we've also toured with. We did that. I think it was 2014, maybe 13. But yeah, we toured with Hollywood Undead. I know those guys. Again, not really all that close with them, but I know who they are. Yes.
Also, I was going to point out earlier during the Jeffree Star topic. First of all, they just talked about Jeffree Star a lot, and if you want to talk about politically incorrect language, there is a lot of extremely politically incorrect language in almost all of Hollywood Undead's early music.
Good. Politically correct is terrible.
Exactly.
For society.
Like
it's terrible.
Like there's a lot of the other bad F word in their old music. Like,
look, everybody that's over the age of
yes.
everybody that's over the age of like 15 or 20 has said that word so many times. It's just because it's alive and well on Xbox Live Chat.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee.
Yeah,
You know.
I thought South Park had settled this a long time ago, but
That I did too.
I guess not.
I guess not.
Glenn RK4 said, Jada said, do something or I'm sleeping with another one of our son's friends.
She's gonna do it anyway, so I don't even think that would work. I'm telling you, the better thing is that she's got some type of weird like thought control on him, where she does the thing like when a hypnotist hypnotizes you and they have to like basically release you from your they have to like tap you on the leg twice. So she's got like sends him into action and 3 taps brings him back or something.
There's an MK Ultra trigger word.
You couldn't hear it, but she had one of those little clickers that they train dogs with. She just hit it 3 times, and Will gets up and look out.
What was the song from Zoolander that they had to play whenever?
I don't remember.
Oh, I know this. This is one of my favorite movies. It was it's an 80s band.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
The song that they have to play when
it's on the tip of my tongue now.
Somebody in the chat would know, but but you know what we're saying. They're like to turn on
It's not Safety Dance.
to turn him in the spin me right round. I don't think
it's
not spin me right. Relax, don't do it.
Relax, don't
By-
do it.
it's
That's right.
relax, don't do it.
Yeah, that's
Do
right. It's
it.
by Yellow.
Turns him into an assassin.
Don't do it.
Rascal
Yeah.
King said, the Rascal King approves of Phil and Surge, badasses. Ronan
yeah.
Dex is a
Sick
real
man.
hero. Jack O'Neill did the work, and Samantha Carter is brave and bold. I don't know who those people are.
Neither do I.
Thousand
No
Foot
idea.
Deep End said, I didn't mean Peter intentionally cheated, but it's not the same Olivia. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Sorry I set you off, Brett.
Look, It's not cheating.
Look.
Like if you are
Does intent matter?
intent matters here, does it not? Like if you're dating somebody who has a twin sister and that twin sister does something freaking crazy and just pretends to be the other sister and sleeps with you, did he cheat on you? Technically, yes, but if he didn't know,
I feel like
I'm making excuses for people now.
That twin sister's never gonna let you live that down, though.
I was married for
Never.
I was married for a little while, and I feel like I would be able to tell the difference between like the person that I was married to and her sister, even if they were identical twins.
They're not.
There are like markers of like body language. And
Yeah,
stuff.
Right.
I feel
I know
like
identical twins, and they're not exactly the same.
Surank Zero Production says intent doesn't matter in the eyes of God. Well, you know what? That's not fair.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
It absolutely does. What are you talking about? Maybe not in the eyes of Olivia.
Oh man, this is gonna I'm gonna have to go back and watch the whole show again and
Get to it.
reanalyze this.
This
to
is
work.
something that would never happen in real life. So why does it matter?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's the most important type of discussion, the ones that have absolutely no bearing on your actual life.
Yeah.
All the stuff that I've committed to memory is all of the stuff that will never matter in any point in my life. So in a way it works because it actually helps me out in this job. But in general, most of my knowledge has no actual bearing on my existence.
Mm-hmm. Jimbo said, Brett, we need full WWE Oscars with Will Smith as the heel. They can cut promos beforehand and everything.
I love the idea of cutting promos
And
for the
look,
Oscars.
and I was saying, like, when I was thinking, when he mentioned like how long the walk was to get up to the stage, I'm like, he could have like
Walkout
Stone
music.
Cold's entrance
Yeah.
music with the glass breaking.
Yeah.
Pyros.
Pyro goes up.
boom.
There's a great
Sweet.
meme that it shows.
Everybody has to walk like Conor
Black the
McGregor.
Room,
Yeah,
and
like Vince
and
McMahon.
Vince McMahon, like with
He's
the
so
big
awesome.
arm swing.
Yeah.
Dude, and then Jim Ross has to be in the background there,
Yeah.
like, by God, like, yeah, somebody has to do that. Let's
love it.
go. Like,
I'm
look,
into it.
If
UFC
Austin
is
was more
already.
entertaining, I'd watch him.
Yeah.
I'll say that. If it was
Like-
more entertaining and there was more showmanship, I would watch it. You guys are supposed to be the best actors. I don't see much acting. Like,
The funny thing is, for WrestleMania this year, WWE is doing like WWE Goes Hollywood again. They did that at like WrestleMania 22 or something like not 22, but like where they do like the opening video package is them like reenacting scenes from movies, and they're doing that again at
right. I remember
WrestleMania
that.
this year.
I
So
love
let's
that.
go.
yeah.
Colt Shooter said, spin the UFO.
If we had one here,
There's not-
What is the
This isn't
PCC
IRL.
UFO?
I think they're talking to me. I'm sorry. I'll make it happen tonight.
I have
I
one of
admit.
the I have
Oh.
one of the floating light bulbs. We could put one of the floating light bulbs up here.
They're saying they want a PCC when they want an act. They want a pop culture crisis.
You should have one.
Yeah.
We need one.
Alex, making beds and writing novel on the side, said, Pete, favorite Sabaton song. Pete?
Eat? You mean Phil?
He said, sorry, meant to say Phil. Tired eyes.
I don't know Sabaton enough to say
Sabaton's
what.
sick.
what
You know who
my-
they are, though.
I know
right?
of the band. I'm not familiar with their music enough to be like, oh, I like.
Yeah, I don't know the names of the songs. I know they've written a lot of stuff about World War I battles, which has been really, really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, but I don't know the names of the songs either.
World War I was brutal.
Yeah, very
Rough.
brutal.
Unusable Alpaca said, we have a family ranch and raise alpaca. It's called a spittoon of alpaca.
Oh,
Sweet.
I be the real alpaca.
incredible.
Perturbed
Nice.
alpaca is they're just seething right now. Jimbo said, y'all are forgetting Folivia was trained to imitate Olivia and was sent specifically to seduce Peter.
That's why it's so funny, because she doesn't do a perfect imitation of Olivia. She's still too nice. Like even Peter, like I said, that's the point. Is like he makes note of like the fact that she's not the stoic, more surly Olivia, but he just kind of chalks it up to like, hey, we're like newly in love, so she's acting different. That's not what it was. So if anything, that has to be real hard for him. Before we finish up, let's do womp womp womp, shall we?
Sure.
All right. Do we want to do? We can choose between the two. Do we want to do Pastor and Beyonce?
I like the TikTok of the pastor,
Okay.
to be honest.
Let's do this then, guys. So a pastor accuses Beyonce of being a witch and slams Christians who attend her shows.
Look, I mean, anyone can be a pastor these days.
Yeah, seriously.
And she calls herself a prophetess.
They're not sending
Ooh.
us their best.
That's not
Like,
it. That
that's-
is
that's a big
that's blasphemous,
claim.
I think. I don't know. If
I
you can
don't
really
know.
say
Shall
that.
we?
That's-
Yeah, she calls her the Alliance.
Let's refresh here. It's doing the thing where it.
Look, I grew up on
play.
90s death metal and blasphemy doesn't offend me, but man, people are just weird today.
Yeah, it's
The
like,
world, you have bowed any of you who are going to Beyonce's concert. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. How dare you call yourself a Christian?
like, what is the point?
I
Like,
don't
what
care
are you-
what pastor you got that is okay with it. I don't care what pastor you got that think it's cool. I don't care
They're
what pastor you got
cheering.
that's singing
The
along
crowd
to
is
that song. 'Cause
roaring.
they
It'd be awesome if Halo came on in the
Want some
background while this is
clout?
going on.
Yes.
Yeah, this
Well, I
would
love
be,
the
if the
person
Halo
just-
music was playing under this, it'd be kind of great.
The musician in the background just awkwardly playing.
Why
She
you think
just,
that man
she
called
just,
himself
she just
Jehovah?
like
It was
dead
short
air
for
for how long was
Jehovah.
that?
She
Wow.
spins.
She doesn't like Jay-Z either. That's a problem.
It's Hova.
When a
it's
witch
not
has a coven, it's
Jehovah.
normally a small thing. Witches' covens are normally 3 to 7 people. When it becomes thousands, it's called a hive. Y'all are part of that lady beehive?
I thought it
And
was.
you call yourself a Christian?
I'm thoroughly enjoying
May the
this.
dealings of
Me
the
too.
Lord come upon you. You think this is small stuff. You think you not going to that lady's concert is not an initiation.
Oh, the music is getting more
You think
dramatic.
you not going to that concert is not a ritual. You
Coming
think you
on the
not
final
going
boss.
to concert
all single
It's
ladies,
not a
all single
gate.
ladies.
that entire concert is a gate.
Sam Smith will be there.
How dare you
Deviled ham.
Ham Smith.
call yourself a Christian?
I love her.
I'm telling you, may the
Dramatic
dealings of the Lord
pauses.
come upon any Christian with a platform that is using mixture this year.
Church
May
man's
the dealings
tight.
of the Lord
Church
come
man's real
upon
tight
you.
back there.
This year, may the dealings of the Lord come upon you. Let me say something. There is a
Black
righteous
Greta
indignation.
Thunberg.
God is tired of this. I'm telling you
How
by the
dare
Spirit
you.
of God. He is tired of his people being in mixture. He is tired. You being in mixture is the same thing as you cheating on your wife. You being in mixture is the same thing as you cheating on your husband.
I would like
It's
some
the same
context.
thing as Folivia.
I would like some context about what being in a mixture is, or being a mixture is.
Yeah, context, please.
I need,
Context added.
I need context as well. But like,
Wow, that was.
Is there a button I can push to get,
Uncomfortable chair says LPCC W that lady. Thoughts?
PCCW.
I don't know. I don't think women should be pastors. So,
Yeah. Yes.
but valid points. It could be
she's-
ritualistic.
So because she's serving God and Satan at the same time. Look, there is such a thing as like tact in approaching these situations, and I mean, granted, she's technically preaching to the choir in this situation, right? All the people there should agree with her anyways.
Yeah.
But when somebody like me watches this, chat be damned, they're gonna be like, they're gonna say, Brett, you should like. I just see this and I laugh, and
Seems
I can't.
like it's more for TikTok anyway than for the people there.
Also, I would love to see the rehearsals where they got the timing on the music right. Where she's like, "No, it needs to swell more here.
Well, or
it needs
is
to
it-
swell
is it
more
just
here."
Freestyling,
That's what I'm thinking. I'm listening to it. I'm thinking like this band is
On
very
point.
tight with each other. They know how to play with each other, and they're listening to her
Yeah.
play.
They're
And
like, "Oh, she's going
just,
on."
They know the vibes.
It's impressive. It's
I
impressive.
just, so Beyonce is how Satan gets inside you.
So
No, Sam
she
Smith. Sam
tweeted,
Smith.
I publicly came out against and denounced their god, Beyonce.
Ugh.
So they found these tweets from 2010, 2011, and 2014. And she's saying, like, she loves Beyonce. She thinks the new Beyonce song is fire. And she said,
Fire like Satan in hell.
I had just done a YouTube video that night before saying I was the biggest Jay-Z and Beyonce fan until I got saved in my shower in August 2015. Like, what does any of this mean?
All right, so
I'm so lost.
Beyonce is her mixing the ancient god Baal with
Yes, yeah.
Beyonce.
False god Baal.
Or like
Come on.
Balenciaga.
Yeah, got
Which
saved
is
in her
already-
shower. I assume she probably did the whole like Jesus come into my heart. Like probably had a bad day.
I
God
don't
was
know.
having a shower. Said had the personal conversation with Jesus and the one where he doesn't say anything back because if he does you're crazy. But it's a
Yeah.
conversation.
That was.
Do you think that the beehive is actually witch coven, thousands, millions of people.
When it's normally 3 to 7, and that's just too many for one coven. That's the problem here. It's the entry fee is too large, and there's just too many of them. Look, I can't take this type of stuff seriously, but it makes me laugh. It makes me think of, like, have you ever seen that one of the guy going, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up? The guy screaming, wake up, and he's just like pouring sweat.
No.
It's incredible. And like I watch stuff like that, and maybe it's one of those things where you have to be there while it's happening, right? Like to feel it, and you're already kind of predisposed because you believe it. But it's like my question is like, who are the people who's like, is there just people in the middle of a midlife or a life crisis right now where this just speaks to them, even though they're not? Yeah.
Yes.
Even though they're not what?
They're not already religious. Like, is there somebody who's like, I'm having a bad, like my life isn't going that well, and Beyonce sucks, therefore this speaks to me, and I'm going to convert?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
I'm just saying, like, who's she? Like, is she only supposed to be
some people?
Okay.
There have to be some people. I don't think it would be like, it's not going to be a large percentage of people, but there have to be people that are there or that have
Seance.
seen it.
She's a pastor with a TikTok account making viral videos. I think
They're
she's
viral
out for
a reason.
herself.
They are viral for a reason. I don't know. Not everyone's sharing it to be like, look at how cringe this is. Some people are probably sharing it to be like, yes, she finally speaking the truth.
This
But
is like
I mean, someone could just as easily be like, you're a woman and a pastor. How dare you call yourself a Christian?
Yeah,
Like you
true.
can come back at it with all sorts of things.
it's also just kind of like just the same way the left has college courses about celebrities. This is how the right incorporates, or I'm sorry, not good. This is how religion incorporates celebrity into their
Celebrity pastors.
to their curriculum, I guess. Like they have to, like, it's a way to talk about it without casting her out or something like that.
Wait, what are you talking about?
I was like okay. So it makes for a good sermon. Is that what this would be called? A sermon?
yeah.
I don't know.
It makes for a good sermon, right? It's interesting and it draws eyes.
It's the religious or church equivalent of like responding to a video, like the criticizing.
It really is.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's a
Beyonce
response
did this.
video.
It's a reaction
Yeah,
video.
Now,
exactly.
if only we could get a Beyonce reaction video where she's got the video next to her and she's going,
That would be hilarious. But I think that is probably the best way to describe it. There, like this sermon is a reaction video to, or it's a reaction sermon
Yeah.
to. A
maybe
Beyonce
she just
video.
didn't get maybe she like Ticketmaster was down and she couldn't get tickets and she's just taking it out on Beyonce.
Maybe.
Like she really wanted to go hear Halo live and can't now. That could be the reason. Just saying. All right, we got a couple of super chats there left, Mary, I think.
Colt Shooter said no excuses. Spin the UFO.
Okay.
We don't have a UFO.
If we had a UFO, we would spin one.
Hobbit said y'all need to listen to Sabaton ASAP.
All right.
I will though, again, and I will learn some songs names.
Alex making beds and writing novel on the side said everyone listen Primo Victoria. It's about D-Day.
Okay.
Steve Ryman said women like that show why St. Paul wrote, but I suffer not a woman to teach nor to use authority over the man, but to be in silence in 1 Timothy. Yeah.
All right.
No comment.
As not a religious person, I don't have any insight on that, but I'll take your word for it. All right, Phil, thank you so much for coming today.
Cheers! Thank you very much for having me.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
So I am Phil Labonte. I am the lead singer of All That Remains. You can check me out on Twitter at Phil That Remains. You can check me out on Instagram. It's at Phil That Remains Official. I have a TikTok that I never use because the Chinese are monitoring your phones. So
Perfect.
there you go.
Am I able to like shout out music?
You
Are
can
you
shout-
able
dude,
to?
You
Of
can
course
shout
I
out
don't know.
whatever
It's
you
pop
want,
culture
dude.
crisis. Okay, cool. I have music coming out on Cool Contest Records. It is a compilation disc that'll be coming out. I don't know when exactly, but in the near future. You can follow me on Twitter at KellenPDL. That is my private page. No one seems to know that's my real private page. That's where I mainly respond to all my comments and criticisms. Just go and
Specifically
follow me
the
there.
criticisms.
Yeah, specifically criticisms and like rude comments. Just like go to at KellenPDL.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks guys. It's been fun.
All right, Mary, where can they find you?
You can find pictures of me on Instagram at Mary Archived, and you can send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, thank you again for bearing with us yesterday with all of the technical issues that we had. Luckily, it all worked out today. It all seems to be working out fine. Before we go, like this video, leave a comment on this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. If you want to follow the show, we are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I am on Twitter and Instagram at Brett Dasovic. The show is also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you'd like to listen rather than watch. And if you want to follow the show on social media, it's on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.